13th, 2024 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Please have the roll call.
Commissioner Hubbard.
Those of you who are coming in, please be quiet.
Commissioner Bradshaw.
Present.
Commissioner Helms.
Here.
Commissioner Barlow. Commissioner Morse. Chairperson Hassett. Vice Chair Gillette.
Here.
Commissioner Patillo.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Ruge.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We will now have an automated announcement message.
Anyone who has not signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete a request to speak form, which is also located on the lobby table next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on. Please note, there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There is also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, have 17 copies and give them to a staff member at the back of the auditorium. Staff member, please hold up your hand for the audience. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the overhead camera to present your documents. Please place your documents on the podium and line it up with the arrows indicated. If you want your documentation to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item number clearly marked on the documentation. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are seated at the tables with microphones during the meeting. If you have questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to make their presentation statements. Everyone, please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must take a call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussions. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed from curb to curb. No food or drinks are allowed in the auditorium except for bottled water. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch for 1 hour per the Chairman's discretion.
Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Can you guys hear me? Apparently, there's something wrong with our...
Hello.
Testing.
Yours is working.
Yeah. This one working?
Testing.
Testing.
Hello.
Is it working now?
Testing.
Not up very high.
Is there a way to turn it up?
What if you just sat in a different seat for now?
That's what I was thinking. Can you hear me now?
Better.
I have to move everything. Okay. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with a recommendation made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, December the 2nd, 2024.
at 9:30 a.m. in this same location, with the exception of any continued items. To try and expedite things, we are moving 10, 11, and 12 to the beginning of the meeting. So we are going to start with item number 10. Matthew Gunderson.
Yeah, you're not projecting.
Gotta get closer to the mic.
Is that better? Okay, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 10 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone for assessor's parcel numbers 330, 32, 002, 018, 020, and 021 from an AR agricultural residential and AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zones to an RE 1A residential recreation 1-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a residential subdivision in the Kingman vicinity. This is an area north of on Stockton Hill Road. This was part of a previously approved preliminary plat. That preliminary plat has expired, and so this is a new subdivision. The previous subdivisions in this area had minimum lot sizes of 8,000 square feet and 10,000 square feet. This one will have a 1-acre minimum lot size. We have received over 20 letters of opposition and a petition in opposition to this item. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is the applicant here, and do you wish to speak? Do you wish to speak? Come to the podium, please. Your name and your address.
Tyler Engel, 2800 Wallapai Mountain Road with High Desert Land. And
my name's Travin Pennington, 2247 Mesa Drive with High Desert Land Holdings.
so here we're putting up a document for the projector showing what had previously been approved by Planning and Zoning and the Board of Supervisors for the zoning and the plats for the smaller parcels. It was basically going to be an extension of the subdivisions that exist there now. And that was going to be 570 lots. And so when we bought this property a couple years ago, that was valid and in place. But through evaluations and considering what type of lots that we would need in the future and what the market was telling us, we decided to pivot to do 1-acre lots instead. And so instead of 568 lots, we're now proposing around 150 lots total for the area. And so that's why we're going through this process. The next item is a preliminary plat for the first section of this area to do 1-acre lots. We've had success doing nice 1-acre lots in the Kingman Valley and a couple other subdivisions. And those are pretty much full up. So we're looking for an area to do some more of those. Some of the feedback we've heard is people are worried about the traffic that this would create. Of course, each house is going to create some additional traffic. We already had a traffic engineer do the required process as part of the preliminary plat to look at it. He says that the current roads will suffice. The Sun Mountain Boulevard, which is the collector road, is 70 foot wide. That would lead into this. It's a 40-foot improvement curb to curb, which is bigger than Stockton Hill Road that you take to get there. It's bigger than Wallapai Mountain Road. So we feel, and our traffic engineer feels, that the Sun Mountain Boulevard is sufficiently wide. Another common issue we heard about in the feedback was about water availability, which, talking with the water company that's out there, Foothills, they said there's more than sufficient capacity both in their well, their equipment, and the aquifer to serve this area. I think there's a representative here from the water company, if that comes up, that could speak to that item. That's all I had for you.
All right, thank you very much. I have a list of people who have signed up to speak. Remember, when you come to the podium, give your name and your address, and you have 2 minutes. And we're going to start with Neil Willow. Is that Willow? And on deck, we have Michael Neal. Neil. Just giving you a heads up so that we don't have to wait while you travel from your seat all the way up to the podium. And the next person is Tammy Burst. So you are Neil Willow?
Yes, I'm Neil Williams.
Williams.
My address is 1901 Johnson Avenue, number 4364, Kingman 86402. I was born in Washington, D.C. in Georgetown. I have relatives that were in Congress for 50 years. I know how Congress works. There's been a mandate on Congress, and we're going to do the same thing here. Because what's happening is there's power. There's behind that power, there's people that want to make money. And money, if you follow the money and you follow the backdoor channels to this committee, you'll find there's corruption. We're not blaming you. Stockton Hill Road, when I first came here, I came here in 2013, just like a lot of people. And I loved it. When I bought a property, the person adjacent to my property said, I'm a developer, I want to develop this. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? It's money. Money is the root, the love of money is the root of all kind of evil. What I see in Kingman is a smaller portion of DC. And from living in big cities and having a successful building
Thank
of
you.
a company, am I out of time? I'm showing 44 seconds.
Oh, okay. No, sorry.
I know you want to get rid of me, but
No, not necessarily.
well, basically, what I'm seeing now is when I moved here 5 years before that, they were saying that where I live on Stockton Hill Road was a dirt road. You know, the city has a hard job. They got to maintain growth. They have to have tax income. But the way that they're doing it, I see things that are similar to Washington, D.C. And I can tell you the corruption, even from people that I know very close. So we don't want that here. And we don't want people who love money and love business and love success. Success is, I'm out of time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And by the way,
I want to say something too.
Yeah, I do too.
hang on a second. This is the speaker, not the.
No, I know.
I know.
None of us have a dog in this hunt. So
Listen,
take exception
you can
to
save that for later.
Okay.
If you know of some corruption, the county attorney's sitting right there.
Sir, could you come back?
And I take offense because we volunteer our time to work with the community to better our communities.
You speaking?
And for you to stand there and accuse us.
I haven't accused you of anything.
You
I
said
said what
this
I've seen in Washington, D.C., and if there is things here that lead back to you through relatives, through different names that have sources, it's going to be revealed. Everything that's hidden will be revealed.
Well,
I'm not
reveal
accusing
it,
you.
but
I don't
you
even
just
know you,
accused
Melanie.
this committee.
Melanie, if you want to go to lunch, call me. We'll go to lunch. But
Does it feel better speaking over someone when they're trying to talk? Does that feel good?
Members of the commission.
all right, I'm not going to win.
You guys, order.
I would just repeat, if it comes up in the future, we want a clean record. So if we want back and forth, I would just make it clear that
I agree.
who's speaking. Thank you.
Okay, the next person is Michael Neal. And after that is Tammy Burst. So let's be ready.
Hello, my name is Michael Neal. I live at 5875 North Kingman Reef Lane in Kingman. I am the general manager for Foothills Utilities, which serves the subdivision with water. And I was just coming because I was told that there was some concerns related to water. And I just kind of wanted to give you guys an overview of our water system and our ability to serve the area. 150 homes uses an annual average of 50 acre-feet of water per year. The way that our wells are set up today, they produce 386 acre-feet of water per year, so that's more than enough to serve what's out there now and additional homes, plus many more. The well capacities that we have have the ability to produce 33,000 acre-feet per year. Once again, there's plenty of water, more than enough there. And I'm available for any questions if you guys have any questions about water in the area.
Thank you.
Okay, also, I am in favor of this subdivision. It's very well designed. I've seen the engineering on it, and I think it'll be a great benefit to the community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tammy Burst is the next speaker.
Hello, Tammy Burst, 1714 East Scarlet Plume, Kingman. I'm here really to support this zoning change. I think that 1 acre lots are a great idea. It could be a lot worse. And I think that they're being pretty responsible in changing it to only 1 acre lots. I have some concerns about 150 new homes in my neighborhood, the impact on Sun Mountain and Fountain Hills. We don't have any other way out other than an unpaved road. And I would like to address, though, the way in. The only paved way in and paved way out is Stockton Hill to Fountain Hills. And it's kind of a scary intersection. If you're going 45 miles an hour, you literally have to slow down to 15 to make that turn. It's a 90-degree onto a very narrow road. And if you blow it, you're in oncoming traffic or in the ditch. And anyway, I think a turning lane for this community would be great. But I think a better idea would be, I have heard a proposal for a roundabout there. And I know everybody laughs at a roundabout, but it would safely get our community on and off of Stockton Hill Road and slow down the traffic coming into town and maybe even tie in with Bull Mountain Road. I don't know.
Time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tyler Engel. Oh, okay. Then we'll move on to Rex Ivy. And on deck is Andrea, looks like Penn. Pierre Penn. Did I murder your name?
Rex Ivy is correct.
Thank you.
It's Rex Ivy, 6114 North Chatham Road. Thank you to the commission for allowing me to speak. Chatham is a road that runs north and south and is directly adjacent to the proposition at hand. I have a number of concerns in regards to a tenfold increase in the number of homes to be placed there. First of all, Chatham is a stretch of road that we live on that long, and on one end from the Fountain Hills on our south side is paved, and then on the other end, on the north end, there is Cactus Ren and it's paved. So you have a less than a mile stretch that is directly adjacent to this proposed build out that people use to access other roads in that area. And there's a significant number of people on that live in Fountain Hills and in that area that have side-by-sides, desert buggies. So it's like a dust bowl on that road. And that's just a concern that's a minimal concern compared to the water issue that was brought up before. I'd like to address that. We have a well on our property. It's over 600 feet deep. It no longer produces. We have to haul water. There's many wells there on the north side of town that are losing capacity or no longer producing. And a lot of that has to do with the number of homes that are being put in.
Thank you. Your time is up. And would the audience please not talk to each other while they're speaking? The next one is Andrea Penn.
Hello, good morning. My name is Andrea Penn. I live at 2071 East Cali Allende, which is the corner house on Cherem and Cali Allende. I'm a busy mom of 2 active kiddos, and I live directly across the street from one of the rezone areas. The thought of this rezone sickens me. I've moved into my current house because of the wide open spaces, the quietness, and the lack of people. So I started a petition. I talked to over 40 of my neighbors. While we may not have agreed on the number one reason why we protest this rezone, we could unanimously agree that the rezone would not benefit anyone in this area. It would destroy what we all moved out here for. Our petition has over 40 signatures, which is well over the 20% needed. Here are the reasons why we all signed. There is simply no water. I don't care what they say. People like myself live in the area and we have to haul water. Most of the wells, like Rex was saying, Cherem and the surrounding areas are drying up. It is a simple equation. The more hands you put in the bowl of candy, the less candy you have. It is the same with water. I teach my kids this. Traffic is doubling and even tripling. The amount of people on Sun Mountain Fountain Hills Road makes this a disaster, not to mention the incredibly dangerous intersection in Stockton Hill. We have way more people on Stockton Hill as is, and more are pulling water trailers. The wildlife, desert that we all love. This would displace our hawks, desert tortoises, Gila monsters, roadrunners, jackrabbits, lizards, quails, and so on. There is no infrastructure. Kingman is now overrun of people. We have way more people than this town and resources can handle. We need to slow down and fix the problems instead of adding to the problem. The reliability and capacity of the Foothills, Truxton, whatever you want to rename it today, water company, they have had dangerous outages where they had to get water from the city, and they are financially unstable. Look into that. The debris and pollution that is left in the desert, I have pictures, but I think I'm going to run out of time. I took them yesterday. Somebody just jumped some paint all on angle. Their job site's a mess. There is just a few of the reasons why people of this area would like you to say no to this rezone. As you have heard and will continue hearing from my neighbors, we are saying no. I am saying no. As a town, we are saying no. We are one unified voice saying no to rezone.
Thank you. Does that make you feel better? I hope so. Cindy. Cindy DeMille, are you here? I'm here, but I'm not speaking. You're not speaking, okay. All right, that's all of the ones who signed up. Is there anybody else who wants to comment at this time? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the... Okay, then I open the public hearing. Yes, actually I can.
Can I start?
Name and address, please, sir.
Chris Lester, 4379 Gemstone Avenue. We're looking at water. We need to look at schools, police, fire department, the hospital. You can't get to a doctor now, and you want to bring in more families. This is a money thing. Everybody knows it for the developer, which I understand. I understand that they're trying to help us out by spreading the houses out further. It still doesn't fix the problem. Fix the problems before you develop new ones. I've been in a lot of communities. I've seen this a lot of places, and this is going to hurt Kingman. That's it.
Thank you. Please hold the applause. It just takes up time. I'm going to close the public hearing. I am listening to you. We are all listening to you, but we're asking you not to applaud because it takes time. We are going to be here all day. I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have anything they would like to say. Any questions? I have closed the public hearing, sir.
Well, I raised my hand and you ignored me.
I didn't ignore you.
Name's
I
Ron
didn't.
Mountjoy. I'm going to have my say, okay?
Go ahead.
The most precious thing we have in our world is water, and they're ignoring it. I don't care how much water you can pull out of a well. Right now, this is from the Department of Water Resources and their report on our water situation on the aquifer. It's being dropped 4% more than it is being replenished. You don't have any other water source. You can't get it from the rivers. You can't get it from anything. But government keeps squandering this, and to the point where we're going to have to fight for water. There's people, like they said, wells are going dry. It shouldn't be. At one time in our history here, there was over 20 natural springs. This was a meeting ground for all the Native Americans because they had a good water supply. They're gone. The water's going. So keep draining it. When you come to me and tell me that you have to shut off your water, I'm going to ignore it.
I think for some reason I'm getting the impression that you guys think that we are for this. We are not for it or against it at this point. We are listening to what you have to say. And I would appreciate it if you would be polite about it. Are there any questions that the commissioners need to ask the developer?
Anybody else wants to speak?
Well, they're too late. I closed the public hearing. Commissioner?
Yes, I have questions for the applicant. So my question, Tyler, has to do with access. Is there only the one paved access off of Sun Mountain Road to this development?
Yeah, so the access there's the Stockton Hill Road, the one paved road over to Sun Mountain, and then the Sun Mountain is the entry to this area.
All right. I just wanted to confirm that, because I do not see that your width being 70 feet has anything to do with the reality out there. I am very familiar with that area. You have homes that back up onto that street, which is very different to me.
The back up onto Shadow Mountain?
No, onto Sun Mountain Boulevard.
Yeah.
There are driveways that back directly up onto that road.
Yeah, there are a couple from Desert Fountain that do front it, but
Okay.
it is a collector size road as far as the county standards. It's not a neighborhood road. That's why it's built wider.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Bradshaw, I believe that you had a question.
I do, thank you. So I'd like to discuss, water is obviously the largest elephant in the room. So can you help me understand a couple of things? Number one, are wells going dry? And tell me a little bit about that. There's many people that have discussed that, and help me understand if there's wells going dry, how there's still water available.
Yeah, I'm just a private property owner. I don't work for the ADWR or anything. I'm not sure everyone's well situation out there. I just know that Foothills Utilities is regulated by the state and ADWR and is allowed to produce. And they say they have plenty of water and haven't had issues with it. I don't know the individual wells out there. I know some people said that they've drilled dry wells. So when they tried to hit water, they didn't in the areas of some of those homes. And as you know, aquifers, they're not the same as lakes above ground. There's water in different spots. So I do know some of the area to the east have attempted to hit water and just didn't have water under their house because of the composition of the earth underneath. I know that.
Okay, so actually I'm very familiar with aquifers as far as that's concerned. So I do understand that, you can move a whole 400 feet and it will come up dry where the other one is. But depth is a concern, is a consideration in that realm as well. But maybe I could ask the same question to the water company. What is the depth of your wells? Do you have a water adequacy report that shows that there is adequate supply in this area? Oh, he's coming down.
Name and address, please.
Michael Neal, 5875 North Kingman Reef Lane, the general manager of Foothills Utilities. To answer your question, the depth to water from the time we drilled the wells until the last time I measured it, which was about 30 days ago, has remained relatively the same. It has gone up, it has gone down a few feet, but it's the static level is relatively the same for the wells in this area. The ADWR came out a few months ago and measured a different well in the same aquifer, and they came out in 2024, at the beginning of 24. They had come out 5 years prior to that, and measuring the static levels. In that 5 years, the static level has increased by 54 feet. So, that with the USGS and the ADWR tests that they did on the aquifer, the amount of water in the aquifer, the only thing it's ever talked about is the first 1,200 feet. So in 1,200 feet, there's about 24 million acre feet of storage. That storage is decreasing at a slow rate, but what they don't talk about is the fact that the aquifer is 14,000 feet deep. So if you do the math, there's probably somewhere around 90 trillion gallons of water in storage in the Wallapai Basin aquifer.
So are there agricultural areas out here that are utilizing the same aquifer?
Yes, there
aggressively?
are. Yes, the ADWR did establish a irrigation non-expansion area, so there won't be any future.
There's no new agricultural areas or new agricultural impacts to this aquifer.
Correct.
How deep are your wells? Do you know what the depth of your wells are currently?
The wells that we have that are supplying this subdivision are one's 950 feet deep, the other is 1,050 feet deep. They are rated at having the ability to produce 6,000 gallons per minute.
Great, thank you. I have some other questions for the developer. So do you intend to incorporate installed water pipes and fire hydrants and a full potable system into this development?
Yeah, so there's a process with the county and the state where we have to create the water plans and submit them to the state or the county. And in some instances, is the state's liaison that can review it, but they have to review it for regulatory compliance. And there's also the fire hydrants that will be installed as well. Yes.
So do other neighborhoods in this area have the water system installed?
Yeah.
Which ones? I mean, there's a discussion about there's a lot of 20-acre parcels. 5-acre parcels, and then, of course, we see these quarter-acre parcels just to the south and adjacent to your proposed development.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with all of the water service area that's approved, but the quarter acres are all in the water system, and then out to the north a ways, there are some acre parcels and multi-acre parcels that are also on the water system, and that is also to the north is where the wells are, I believe, and the storage facility is out to the north a mile or so.
Okay. What about sewer services? Will these be septic? Is that part of the reason why you went to 1-acre lots? Is because you needed to do a septic style?
Yeah. There's a lot of contour in the area. It's pretty hilly. There's some washes that go through, and so with the acre lots and septic would be what we think would be most appropriate.
So I'm glad you mentioned that it's hilly and terrainy. Specifically, I have a question on the rock outcropping. Is that something you intend to preserve? Is that something that is outside of making that a public open space, or at least some semblance of open space in the future?
Yep. Yeah, we plan to leave that there. There's around 16 acres of this large hill rock outcropping, maybe 100, 150 feet above the valley floor there on the border section that we plan to leave open. When we get to developing that area, we could discuss with the county if they were interested in doing like a county park, or if they'd rather the HOA have that as private property and maintain that as a private property park and path area.
Okay. So I think that answers most of my questions. 150 homes. You do have a traffic study that discusses. Let me step back. Is 150 homes the max you're going to have on this entire 200 acres?
Yeah, that was my rough estimate based on. So the next agenda item is the first 86 or so acres, making that into a subdivision on a plat. And so we could talk about it more then, but yeah, we could commit to not do more than 150 for certain, if that's something that's intriguing. But it would be pretty much impossible with the roads, the retention, and then this rock outcropping to achieve more than that with this zoning. So it's kind of self-satisfying.
I think that was kind of what I was getting at. Is I believe that that's the case. If you intend to take this open space and preserve that, you have 150 acres left, which even at 1 unit per acre would be tough to get.
Yeah.
So that's all my questions for the applicant at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a few.
Commissioner Morse.
Can you hear me out there? Good. Is this perched water that you're pulling from?
Sorry, what was that?
Is this perched water that you're pulling from?
Perched water?
Perched. P-E-R-C-H-E-D. Perched.
I don't understand what perched water means.
That's what I was afraid of. On the wells that have gone dry, there must be a lot higher than the perched water. So I was wondering, even if you on the dry wells, if they spring them, you still don't know how long they're going to last. Is there any? What are you going to do for these people that have dry wells? It seems like this perched water is draining down into the area that you're going to pull from, and they're going to be without. Then they're going to have to still haul water, and they won't be able to. They won't be able to take care of their own water needs. Perched water, if you want to take a dish like your dinner dish, and the water's in there, that's perched water. It doesn't percolate down any farther. If you have a well that's up here, the water can drain down into that perched area. If you're pulling from the perched area, you're going to run dry unless you have a big snowfall.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not a water hydrology expert. I'm relying on the water company and the ADWR to say whether they're allowed to service more homes, and this is within their authorized footprint of water service, and so that's really the extent of my knowledge of the water.
Yeah, if you're pulling water from 1,000 feet or 900 feet, that's what replenishes it.
What always has moisture, how the water got there initially. I mean, they've had the wells there for, I think, over 30 years. It's not like they put them in yesterday for me or anything.
What happens if it sands in? Who's going to purge it?
If the well sands in?
Sand. Sand.
Uh-huh.
Wells have a tendency to sand in around the casing. So how are you going to purge that? How are you going to? Who's going to be in charge of that?
I don't know how the water company operates their wells.
I think I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions of this?
I have a comment.
Okay, Commissioner Patillo.
Typically, municipal production wells in the Wallapai Valley aquifer are at exactly the depth that was mentioned by the water company of about 1,000 feet or more. And you have tremendous problems, at least in my experience, with shallower wells up against the mountains. And I can back that up by, as an example, the Lake Juniper water system, which is just across the street and up against the mountains from where we're talking about. They've got 35 gallon a minute production wells, as I recall. It's been a while since I had anything to do with them, but I think if you have wells that are as deep as described, you have a Corporation Commission regulated and AWR regulated water company, that it shouldn't have any problem providing water to 150 homes almost in perpetuity, as long as it remains an operational business and they maintain their infrastructure. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
What about the existing wells?
I don't know the state of them.
Obviously,
to me, they are. To me, well, the reason I mentioned the municipal production wells is they're deeper and they hit the main aquifer, the Wallapai Valley aquifer. So typically, you don't see in that, at least in my experience, tapping a perched aquifer at nearly 1,000 feet in the Wallapai Valley. It would be more like, I would say, less than 700 feet. Probably significantly less.
Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners? Then I will call for a motion.
I might comment
Commissioner
real quick.
Bradshaw?
Yes, thank you. So I look at what's happening in the valley. Obviously, water is a significant issue. Septic is a significant issue. You've got hundreds of quarter-acre lots to the south. You've got a few hundred to the north of acre lots, some 20 and 10 and 5 acre lots that are on the perimeter. 150 homes is not an incidental amount of homes. There is a public water system that has committed to providing the water. The developer has committed to, in my opinion, done a fantastic job in putting together a development that is a transition between a minimalistic set of lots, which is the quarter acre, to a medium area, an acre lot. I mean, that's a large lot in reality. Committed to preserving the open spaces. I would like to move that we adopt this zone change, stating that the developer has no more than 150 homes, and that they do preserve that outcropping in perpetuity in some kind of public private combination of utilization for that area. Is that something that you would accept? That is my motion.
Okay. With staff recommendations.
With staff
Okay,
recommendations.
and your second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
I think that it passed. We will now move to item number 11.
Item number 11 is an evaluation of a request for a preliminary plat and petitions of exception for Bull Mountain Acres, Tract 3087, being a proposed subdivision of assessors parcel numbers 330, 32, 018, 020, and 021 in the Kingman vicinity. As was mentioned previously, this is a portion of the area that was just heard with that rezone. This preliminary plat is approximately 88 acres, being subdivided into approximately 69 residential lots. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing and call if the applicant wishes to speak at this time.
I don't think I had anything additional to add. If you have any questions, I'll be available.
All right, thank you. I have one person who wishes to speak. I think it's Andrea Penn. Those of you leaving, please be quiet in the process.
Do you need my address again? Okay. Andrea Penn, 2071 East Cali Lende. I can't stress enough how disappointed I would think the people are after there's 40% that just said that's a horrible idea. But looking further at this plat, which is even more of a terrible idea, if you actually look at the water, in 1977, the static water level was at 670. That's when they drilled the first water. But I don't know if you actually understand that. The way they built their well, it's way down. It's about 3 miles down the hill. It's going to dry up. They've already had issues. They've had to get thousands and thousands of water from the city. But that's okay, because you guys approved it, just like you did with all the agricultural. I would encourage you not to approve this plat, as the information stated is incorrect. If you actually looked at what was written, they just copied and pasted. First, the site says Northern Stockton Hill. They wrote south. That is not even the location. It is stated that it's currently zoned as 1 acre. It wasn't. It just currently is. It also states that water will be provided by the subdivision through the city of Kingman, which we just found out it won't. So I have managed many different places. When I approve them, I don't like to sign things unless it's written correctly, and my questions have been answered. So I encourage you to ask a lot of questions and seriously look into that water company.
Thank you. Are there any others wishing to speak on this subject? If not, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have any questions.
I do.
Commissioner Bradshaw.
Thank you. So let me start with the non-vehicular access easement to the developer. So is this going to have a block wall or some kind of a physical barrier between the back of the lot toward the road that is double fronting?
So we don't have in the plans at this point of doing a block wall on the acres. It's not something that has been real desirable in the valley here as we build homes. Every once in a while, a person with an acre lot might want just their smaller backyard blocked off, but we didn't have a plan to do a block wall around the whole perimeter. Again, there's quite a bit of contour there. Several of the washes, as you can see in the plan, will feed into some retention basins before they release from the site, and water crossing block walls and stuff has been problematic in the past in the county, so we'd like to avoid that itself. But
can I also mention that when we go in and grade these, we're going to try to keep a lot of the topography of these lots. So rather than go in there and mass grade this 86 acres, we're going to concentrate our efforts to maybe build a pad on this site, So our intention is to leave a lot of the natural topography and the native landscaping that's already.
So are you planning on building actual pads or just roadways grading?
There'll have to be pads for the houses, yeah.
So with that, that's an interesting conversation. So are you going to actually add and build a non-buildable area in some portions of lots such that they are protecting drainages and
yeah,
obviously I see some public facilities for detention and retention.
Yeah, I wish I'd brought some pictures maybe of the other acre subdivisions we've done in Kingman. But oftentimes a road like is done in a lot of this is kind of on the ridge line, and the houses will also be up top. And then on the back of the lots, it'll drop off. On both sides will be people's backyards, and that's often where the wash leads out. So because of the topography, you can't really just mass grade it, or at least that's not what we're intending to do with the acres, is keeping a lot of it natural, putting spot pads in and driveways to the paved roads.
And then there was a question about allowing for a block exceeding 1,660 feet. And I see one of those cul-de-sac in there that is pretty excessively long in my
Yeah, there's no calculation or adjustment in the county's current code for like residences on a block. And so if you think about it as far as how many houses are on a block, this would be far less houses than are on a normal block of 6,000 square foot houses. And so as far as traffic goes, it would really be not an exceeding amount of traffic for the extended cul-de-sac there.
Well, interesting enough, that I think my biggest challenge with the length of the cul-de-sac is availability of fresh water supply in the actual pipe itself, and how the water company and how the developer maintains that. That's a lot of water to be stagnant is part of my concern. Part of the concern with the fire apparatus. Are you going to end up with a 10-inch or 12-inch pipe because of that length to get your fire flows? Those are some of the things that concern me.
Yeah, we'll definitely have that engineered to make sure that the fire district and the state ADWR approves the water system design.
It's actually under the threshold of fire requirements. I think there's under 20 lots on that cul-de-sac, and so that's as far as fire EMS thresholds. So that's not really a concern. It's just really how do you maintain that fresh water supply and the circulation.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry to keep bringing it up, but we have done similar subdivisions and haven't had any issues with water supply or water getting stagnant in the valley here.
A lot of that information will be covered when they go through the.
Yeah, and I understand that. It's just something I wanted to bring up in the public forum here.
Yeah,
and
so we can think about it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other commissioners have any questions?
I do. You only have one road in and one road out. That's 350 cars. Everybody has usually 2 cars, so you're talking 700 or so. Is there any way you can get a second way in there? Number one, for apparatus to get in there for emergencies or whatever. One way in and one way out. If it's blocked, somebody's having a heart attack or a fire going on, the apparatus isn't going to be able to get in there.
Yeah, I understand that. With only the 69 lots in there, we didn't have another one planned. Again, they did do the traffic analysis already and submitted it with this, and was reviewed by the county as well. I'm not sure if fire's already reviewed that, or if that happens at the next step at the improvement plan and the subdivision step, but they'll certainly get a chance to review it as well if they haven't already.
Okay, thank you very much. I am now going to call for a motion.
I think I have a question for staff, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
With this, has this plat gone through any review process as far as fire and EMS and water sustainability?
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Bradshaw, we do send preliminary plats to the fire departments for review. I will say at the preliminary plat stage, we don't typically get a lot of comments. Usually their comments come at the final plat stage as they're reviewing the actual water system. You get a lot more detail with the infrastructure itself on the final plat level. This is kind of just an access point. They are included on our review list, but they don't always comment. So we take no comment to mean they don't have any objection.
Okay. Thank you. I just have one more comment, if that's okay. So I think I need to address a couple of things that were brought up here about, number one, us not paying attention. Let's talk about the application. The application says existing and proposed utilities, Truxtun and Canyon water system. It's not really our purview to sit here and nitpick an existing public, quasi-public water system that is approved and sustained by the state of Arizona. That really is not our jurisdiction. It's not something that we have to burden ourselves with. That is the burden of the water company and the developers. That's just kind of how the nature of reality. I hate to say it that way, but that's sewers, on-site septic, electric unit source. I'm just going down the list of what this application actually says. Trash pickup, bulldog disposal, fire, Northern Arizona Fire District, landfill, serve at Mojave County. My point is, this application is complete. It is actually truthful in what its request is, and I moved that we approve this request.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Remember, these are going to come before the Board of Supervisors on December the 2nd, 2024. And you all, if you're that concerned, you should be there. We're going to move to item number 12. Melanie Stradlin.
Item 12 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 322-13001 from an AR-10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an R1-10M single-family residential 10,000 square feet minimum lot size zone and R1-20M single-family residential 20,000 square feet minimum lot size zone to allow for a residential subdivision in the Kingman vicinity. We have received 17 letters of opposition for this proposal. The staff does find that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask, is the applicant present and do you wish to speak? I would suggest that you speak both now and then.
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the owner's agent. This is a request to go from an existing AR-10A site to an R110 and R120 for proposed quarter-acre and half-acre lots. I was aware when the letters went out to this request that there was concern by the surrounding public. I did hold a neighborhood meeting out there instead of waiting to come to this point and then hold a meeting. We did hold it last Friday. I'm sorry you got the report late with the holiday Monday. I know staff only got it yesterday and you just got it. But I want to go back a little bit. So this is ultimately this is a request for half-acre, quarter-acre lots, not to exceed 550 lots on a 320-acre site. This proposal was not taken lightly by the developer. It's based upon a few sound things that the county has been working on. The general plan designation for this site is low density residential, which allows for 5 dwelling units per acre. This proposal includes about 1.7 dwelling units per acre, so we've really lessened up the total density that can be on this site. It's also supported by the housing study that the county did for Mojave County and parts of La Paz County here in the past year. It shows a dire need for housing in this area. It shows increases in commercial development, particularly at the Rancho Santa Fe intersection. I did work on that 900-acre project, which is for commercial industrial manufacturing, the expansions at the airport. All the county and the city is working hard on bringing in economic development. Currently in Kingman, that report shows in need of over 8,000 homes in the Kingman area in the next 25 years. And the county shows in general a need of over 16,000 homes in the next 25 years to meet these growing needs. So this proposal at a maximum of 550 lots would be about 1/17 of that need. And this also is a 20 to 40-year project as well. We held the public, I received 3 or 4 calls from the general public. The staff did receive 17 letters of opposition. We held the public hearing, or the neighborhood meeting, I'm sorry. I thought it really went well in terms of participation, questions asked, and those types of things. There's probably a few items that really stuck out on this. Currently, the site on the north, a portion of the west, is bordered by adjacent half-acre lots. And then south of Dakota on Cherokee, those are bordered by 1-acre lots. And we did hear loud and clear that the people in the 1-acre lots did not want to be facing half-acre lots, which was the original proposal. So I would like to let you know today we would be in agreement with making those 1-acre lots across from the existing 1-acre lots. That's good planning. That works. The developer is comfortable with that. And it was a major concern of the surrounding people. So I would be happy with a stipulation indicating that lots proposed across from those 1-acre lots would also be a minimum 1 acre in size. So that works. The other lots on here are crossing and adjacent to half-acre lots, so that works. We did propose, we showed them a draft layout, and I'll just put it up here, showing lots, kind of how it would look. Just so you can kind of see what the developer was proposing. So the red dots are half acres, the green are the quarter acres proposed. So in this location right here, those are 1-acre lots. That's adjacent to the 1-acre lots. So those lots would now become 1-acre lots for that 400-foot depth that the rezone application. So the rezone application was split into 2, 400-foot depth along the west and along the north. So in that area south of Dakota, those would be 1-acre sites, minimum 1-acre sites. A majority of the Southern Avenue is on the north. So north of Southern is the Rancho Santa Fe subdivision. Those are half-acre lots right now. Yeah, that's right. And so this shows, again, 400-foot depth of half-acre lots to match those lots that are there. It does show the quarter-acre lots are mostly confined to that northeast quadrant right there. Those would be interior to the subdivision so that there wouldn't be any adverse impact to the surrounding property owners. Along the southeast corner there, that big green area, that's a huge power corridor right there, utility corridor. So that would remain open. And then I want to show you another, which we did speak with the people at the meeting. And I don't have the full map, but I do want to show you something here. And I explained to them, because part of the justification for housing here, and this is unique because this is in the county, and those lots to the west and the north are in the city. So there's going to be a lot of coordination with the two jurisdictions. But what this map shows is the future. So Rancho Santa Fe, I-40 is right up here. And then Rancho Santa Fe intersection, which ADOT has initiated that project, it shows a future Rancho Santa Fe Parkway that comes from there down here over and eventually hooks into Wallapai Mountain Road. I believe it is in the county's 5-year planning efforts right now, and I'll speak with Steve Otoski about that. But this area is going to grow. It's planned to grow. It supports the needs of the county and the city. There was a lot of discussion at the neighborhood meeting about coordination with the entities. So it would be our plan, and we anticipate requesting to the Municipal Utility Commission at the City of Kingman the ability to extend their water infrastructure and their wastewater infrastructure to serve this. So the county would require, with this type of a development, central water, central sewer. So that hurdle would have to be overcome before this could be able to move forward. Because if they can't get that central water and sewer, they'd have to create their own, and the chances of success would, drop. After the MUC committee meeting, Municipal Utilities Commission, it would go to the City Council at the City of Kingman, and they would approve or deny that request. We have completed preliminary discussions with the city about that, and were we to submit a portion of this for consideration at this time, there's certainly capacity in their wastewater system and the ability to serve water. Some of the owners, the surrounding property owners, were concerned about water pressure issues. It's because they're at the end of their zone for elevation. So this one should, an extension of that water system should help that situation out a little bit. Like I said, it's a 20, 30, 40-year plan consistent with the needs in the housing study, consistent with the planning efforts for Rancho Santa Fe, with the developer allowing the 1-acre lots in the front. I feel really good about this proposal at this point. I'm happy to, if you have any more questions, happy to answer. It meets the county's general plan. And we held our neighborhood meeting, which I thought was a good move.
No, not right now. Is there any questions now, or do you want to wait until after we hear from the public? Okay. We will wait until after we hear from the public. And the first person up is Robert Dreyer. And behind him is Amy West and Bill Zimmerman. The person who wanted to ask a question at the end of this, we will ask if there's anyone else who wants to say anything. Name and address,
I have our
sir.
map too. My name is Bill Zimmerman. I live at 2472 Wacoma Drive.
Thank you.
Now, everybody here, I was a truck driver throughout my Class A, 50 years, okay? You've just talked a lot about water and all this stuff. You're not talking about accidents, okay? There's only going to be a couple of 2 or 3 roads going in there. They had over on Louise Avenue, they had some kids that got killed not too long ago. I'm sure you know about that, okay? You're going to only have a couple of roads going in there with a lot of stop signs, people going really fast, okay? Nobody's addressed this. Why is that? Okay? So that's one of my problems right there. You have a Diamond Spur going out to the Hualapai, okay? You don't show where that's going to come out at, okay? So you're going to have all these 500 homes or more in this area with not a lot of access. Dakota, I think, is going to run through, and so is Cheyenne. But outside of that, you only have a few roads. And a lot of stop signs. You're going to have a lot of kids that are off-road doing all kinds of stuff. You haven't addressed any of this, none of you. Okay? So that's my point. That's pretty much all I got to say about this.
Thank you, sir. Robert Dyer?
Not coming down. He's my buddy. Thank you.
Okay. Then Amy West.
Madam Vice Chair, members of the commission, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. My
Your
name's
name and address,
My name's
please.
Amy West. I live at 2442 Iroquois Drive. When we bought up in the area, we were assured that no one would ever be able to build in this area. And I understand development. I understand the fact that we need homes. I think there are a lot of other spaces in the city of Kingman that could be utilized. On a daily basis, people are in this area walking, riding their UTVs, taking their animals out, their kids out there. All of this space is used. The open space is desirable to people that live there, and the small lots and the homes that they're proposing really don't fit with the current aesthetic. I appreciate the fact that they're making some concessions, but overall, this is very high density compared to what is currently in that area, and I would be opposed to this type of development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bill Zimmerman, and after him is Lori Piets. Bill Zimmerman? Oh, okay. Lori Pitts?
Okay, I want to make sure I'm understanding.
Are you Lori?
Hello, my name is Lori Peets. I live at 2065 Cherokee Street here in Kingman. I've been a resident of Kingman for 49 years. We own 2 other homes down closer to the fairgrounds. And we bought our property 6 years ago from the Angles. And we have 1.9 acres, one of the biggest lots that still exists on Cherokee. Now, Cherokee is paved up to Dakota. See if that works. My house is this yellow right here. So I just heard that there was a concession that these half-acre lots were now going to be 1-acre lots. And since we're right across the street, there's also a wash across the street. And of course, we know that the Angles would have to leave that as it's already a natural flow of water. And so at first I was opposed to this as far as where our lot is and where our home is. It's my retirement home. Like I said, I've been here 49 years. And we can go with the 1-acre lots that Tyler's proposing on that. The second item would be from Dakota North. That is not paved right now, and houses back up to that street, and that's just a dirt road. As been mentioned, ATVs, motorcycles, and such are flying up and down the paved part of Cherokee and the dirt road of Cherokee that leads on to Southern. So that's a question I have is, do we really want to extend Cherokee North?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your time.
Larry Stevens Sampson. And behind him is Aaron Rodenbrough.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having us here today.
Name and address, please.
My name
sir.
is Larry Stephen Sampson. Everybody calls me Steve. 2020 Comanche Drive. One of my major concerns, of course, is when we bought the property up here, we paid lot premiums to have the lots that we're on because we were also guaranteed that there wasn't be future growth behind us and we'd be able to keep those views. And that's why we moved from Ohio to Arizona so we could have a nice place to retire at and look up at the mountains. And after the meeting at Friday we had with the lady that talked earlier that held the meeting, I did mention my concern about losing our views up there because we had paid extra money to have those views. And I was basically told that I would still have views, but they would be views of brand new rooftops instead. And that wasn't probably the nicest thing that somebody could say to a homeowner, to a a retired military disabled veteran either. I took offense to that. And I do think that the people that live in this community, they bought on Comanche and Cherokee to have those views, to have that space, and to be able to, and most of the people there are around my age. They're most retirees, just like we are. And that's our little piece of heaven up there. And we enjoy that. And we know there's growth that's coming. But when they start talking quarter acre, half acre lots compared to what we have up there, we worry about our property values. We worry about the water. They have to pump water to our streets on Comanche and Cherokee and put pressure pumps inside our garage to maintain water pressure. And when the water pumps go out the tank at the corner of Omaha and Cheyenne, my water pressure pump almost catches on fire. So I've unplugged it and I don't run it anymore. I just live on what we have available. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you for your service, sir. Aaron Rodenbaugh. And next would be Richard Mealy.
My name is Erin Rodenbaugh. I live at 4378 Gemstone Avenue in Kingman. I'm here to express my strong opposition to the proposed rezoning of 322-13-001 in our neighborhood. The proposed development is simply not for our area. The increase in population density would put a strain on our already overburdened infrastructures, water, and electric services. It will put a strain on public services, including medical, fire department, and police. We don't know what the traffic impact will be from the new Rancho Santa Fe off-ramp, but we do know it will increase traffic congestion and noise pollution, yet Southern and Hualapai are not designed to handle large amounts of traffic. It can and will become a hazard for residents in this area in an emergency. In conclusion, I strongly urge you to reconsider this proposal housing development. While I recognize that the need for housing, I believe this project is simply not the right fit for our neighborhood. Thank you for the attention in this matter.
Richard Mealy. And behind him is looks like Greer.
Thank you, Commissioners, for letting us speak tonight or today. My name is Richard Mealy, 4360 Gemstone Avenue in Kingman, Arizona. First, I'm against all rezoning changes to parcel 322-13-01. There's no infrastructure to support the change. Access to the proposed change is very limited. I'd like to see the infrastructure study done to permit this change. Southern Avenue will not support upwards of 500 vehicles per day. If the lots require sewer, then that has not been studied. If Engel says they will be on septic like they did to me, what's the future impact on groundwater? The homes will be standard tract homes, not custom homes as they said mine is. Engel forces the subcontractors to cut corners when building, and why? Profits. This is very delicate desert, needs to be protected from multiple homes. The company listed on the request is a front for Engel Homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad Greer? Green. Sorry, sir.
Brad Green, 4237 Pinto Road, Kingman, Arizona. During the presidential debate, we heard both parties refer to the lack of affordable housing throughout the country. All they had to say was, come to Kingman, Arizona. It has cheap housing everywhere, brought on by uncontrolled building. The uncontrolled building is depressing the property values for the taxpayers in the adjacent areas and increasing the rent in other places. This has a negative impact on the entire community. Southern and Louise are the main arteries into Rancho Santa Fe. How can they handle 2,000 or more cars making 2 trips daily? What happens when it floods, even if it does rain? We usually have to have heavy equipment come into the area to get rid of the rocks and the mud. This is caused by the lack of engineering and no forethought. What will happen to Diamond Spur? How many more cars can come from Rattlesnake Wash and I-40? Compare your property values with any place in Arizona except Kingman, with a equal, all being equal. We have to take a lot of this into account. Where is this going to end? We don't have the infrastructure to support the housing that we have now. We have to do something about this debacle and not let it proceed. A fund needs to be set up, appropriated for the infrastructure and not from the existing taxpayers. Where is the money going to come from for roads, fire departments, firemen, law enforcement? During the well, I didn't get far enough, did I?
Thank you, sir. Don Martin. And on deck is Pandora Patterson.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name's Don Martin. I live in Rancho Santa Fe, so I'm on the north side of this proposed subdivision. And a lot of my neighbors up there have contacted me and asked me about this and how this will affect our neighborhood that's already there. And quite frankly, I don't know what the answers are because I don't know what the county is going to insist that they provide. I've heard the same thing about, okay, what about the devaluation of the neighborhoods that are surrounding this? It's being proposed that they're going to put smaller homes in there. And then there's always the thing about the water. The water to me is probably one of the most important things because without water, you die. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I think, though, that the people are going to put their faith in you and ultimately the Board of Supervisors to weigh all of these different questions that are being asked by the public. And by the way, those are legitimate questions that need to be answered before this development goes through. People that live there for years and years and years, I'm sure they didn't think about this, but development's coming. But how it is developed and the way it's developed is probably paramount to handling this situation. So I encourage the Planning and Zoning Commission, look at the issues that the public has brought up. Weigh them out. See if they are in fact valid. Ask the city, because we are right on the border, ask the city what is going to happen. Are we going to have the infrastructure there to continue to support these developments? If the answer is yes, okay, we can work with this. But if not, we got to stop it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You are aware of the fact that this is the first step in many steps before this is finalized. Pandora Patterson, and behind her is Sal, oh boy, DER something. Okay.
Well, my name is Pandora Patterson. I live at 3899 Cheyenne Avenue in Kingman, which is right within those 300 feet away from the area we're talking about. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I appreciate that you commissioners do indeed have a very difficult job. I want to kind of reiterate that there are only 2 ins or out on the outlet for this designated area. When we bought our home, the area across our street, which we're talking about, was zoned for 1 house per 10 acres. That's 320 acres, which now becomes 550 lots versus 32. I am concerned about the infrastructure for Kingman and how it's going to impact or strain our streets, our water, our gas, our electric, our trash collections, our mail service, our storm drainage, our school enrollment, our police, our medical, the employment that would be more valuable than just minimum type wage jobs for new residents. I'm concerned about the environmental impact, all the animals, the birds, the plants that no one has discussed, but that's just going to wipe out a whole nother 320 acres of all of these guys. And essentially, to conclude, I see this as a negative impact on our entire community, not just this. Thank you.
Sal Durenz, is that it? Ah, it's close. The next one is Penny Holden. And then
Hi, my name is Sal Durenzi. I'm 2165 Comanche. And 2.5 years ago, when we bought our home, we were also told, we actually bought the last lot in our development, and they said, this is it, no more. You got BLM land behind you, and it was wonderful. In fact, not shortly after we bought our house, it dropped in value before we even moved in because of the building going on and all the things going on in the world. Bottom line is, they're right. There is no infrastructure. 3 months out or more to get a doctor. 2 main ways to get in our area on that side, Cheyenne and Dakota. They're not the kind of roads you want to be running trucks up and down all the time. Water is a huge issue. 2.5 years ago, I looked into it. According to what I Googled and talked to some people doing Parker Dam, 50 to 80 years of groundwater at that time, if nothing changes. Well, every time you build a development, and there's a lot of developments being developed in the city right now that aren't done, they're going to be taking water. You put a bowl of water, and the more holes you drill in it, the faster it's going to drain. So water is a big concern. Infrastructure, roads, property value. You know, I moved from a small town that doubled in size in less than 30 years, and I saw what it did to the medical. Yeah, they got more doctors in, but twice the amount of people, and it was getting bad there. I mean, it's just, I'm not against growth, but we just don't, too many houses, where are they going to come from? Where are these people coming from? What are they going to do for work? Are there doctors moving here? Doctors don't want to come here because there's nothing there for them. So I agree with everybody. I think water, look at what they're already building. The Santa Rosa area on the other side of town, there's a whole bunch of houses being built out of the freeway. That new intersections being built. Huge growth in the city. We're at the edge of town. And again, we were all told, this is it. Misleading. I won't get into the misleading that we got about our property. But anyway, I'm against it.
Thank you, sir. Penny Holden. And next in line is Harry Allenek, and then Connie Moore.
Penny Holden, Delaware Drive, and Kingman. I'm here to speak about the infrastructure. I think you guys are putting the cart before the horse. We don't have the infrastructure in that area for the roads, not just in that area, but look at the impact that's on Stockton Hill. The amount of cars that's already backed up on Stockton Hill. All these cars that you're building is going to affect every road in Kingman, not just the area in which they're being built. I'm also involved in the Unisource situation. We have already outgrown our Unisource grid, and we're buying power from California, and that's why our bills are going through the roof, because we have to pay California prices to get our power here. No one's considering that. You're not considering that we don't have doctors in this area. It's 6 months to get in to see a doctor, and you're adding 1,100 cars on the road. How many people is that going to put onto our medical demand right now? We don't have the infrastructure here to do this. And before you can keep growing and growing, let's work on our infrastructure. Let's fix our roads. Let's do what needs to be done, and then we can grow. But you need smart growth, not just throwing houses up here and houses up there, because this water is not there. If you do these reports, it's all who's doing the reports that tells you you got all this water. But we all know that it's not an infinite amount of water that we have here. And you're going to destroy this community that everybody worked in here to moved here for. Thank you.
Thank you. Harry. And then Connie Moore after him, and Kevin Thompson.
Good morning. My name is Harry Elenick. I live at 2390 Steamboat Drive, Kingman. Pretty much everybody that's spoken has my sentiments. I'm against the zoning change, putting all those small quarter-acre lots, all quarter-acre properties in with the 1 acre and above lots are definitely not acceptable. You have a real problem. My driveway, I think, is wider than either Wallapai Mountain Road or Southern Avenue. You got a traffic, so we have a traffic problem. Angle is going to build up there. They're also building down by me. I'm in Southern Vistas. They're going to build another 235 houses there, which puts another strain on the infrastructure. Not to mention the 1,100 houses they're going to put over there on Santa Rosa. I just had an issue with an ear. You can see the Band-Aid on there. Monday, minor skin cancer. Took me 4 months to get an appointment to see the doctor to get that done. So the infrastructure is not there. The city can't sustain this uncontrolled growth without infrastructure being improved. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is a major issue. So anyway, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Connie Moore.
Good morning. I'm a spur of the moment speaker, so I don't have a lot to say. But I came back here. We had a house on Granite Bluffs, 2016 to 21. Came back here, 2023, up on Mustang Springs Road. I'm at 850 Mustang Springs Road. I love it up here. I love Kingman. I'm not sure why the people are having so much difficulty with medical care. I've received excellent medical care. But I, too, was told that that land that is currently being proposed for extensive development was going to be open. It's BLM land, was what I was told. Maybe they can do whatever they want. Maybe they can sell it. I don't know the technicalities. I know that we moved from Granite Bluffs, which was a 10,000 square foot lot. And by the way, you listened when we objected to the development of the land just to the north of Granite Bluffs to 5,000 to 7,000 square foot lots. You listened. Thank you. Because there's still a lot of places for that size lot. These open areas right now are at a premium. And this area of Rancho Santa Fe, that land is being used by all kinds of people to walk their dogs, to walk myself. I'm 79 years old. I've walked up that hill dozens of times. Now I'm volunteering with your animal shelter, so I'm walking those dogs and working with the Dobermans. I love this area. I hate to see that parcel developed. If anything, if it has to be developed, can you keep it to at least minimum of 1 acre lots? It does not make sense. And the water supply is a big concern. The traffic, I already know that can be an issue because we had a fire up there. Some of you may remember not very long ago. It was a mess. So please give it serious consideration. Let's people, if they have to move here to Kingman, move to some of the smaller areas in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Thompson. And Grace Bunch is behind her.
Karen Thompson, 4087 Sidewinder Avenue, and thank you very much for letting me speak today. I, too, am very concerned about the overall lack of infrastructure planning for the growth in this area. Everything that happens up Rancho Way and out where this development is proposed bleeds into the city. Long and the short of it. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have medical care. It's 6 months to get an appointment. It's incredibly frightening to be a senior citizen in a community that has so outgrown the infrastructure and the medical care. The schools are overcrowded. I took a serious fall in March, and I laid there with 100 breaks in my femur, if you can imagine the pain, 3 blocks from a fire station, and waited 20 minutes for an ambulance and was informed, I'm so sorry, the fire department used to come on calls like this, but they don't have the time anymore. And we keep growing. It's 150 here, 500 here, 1,000 over by Rancho, by Santa Rosa. And the overall effect is overwhelming and destroying this community. And we've got to put the skids on it, and we've got to do some planned infrastructure, major building, get some medical facilities that have more doctors, and find a way to care for the people that are already here. Because right now we're really falling down on that job. Thank you.
Thank you. Grace Bunch.
Grace Bunce, 4071 Gemstone Avenue. My husband and I moved out here 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, from California. We moved out here because we wanted the open area. This project is 320 acres, and they're planning on putting 550 homes on this project. Take into consideration that most homes have 2 to 4 residents living in each one, 2 to 3 vehicles per home. Southern Avenue will be turned into an LA freeway. There is no possible way that this project will not affect our water supply. And I don't care what the city of Kingman says about a 100-year supply of water for Kingman, it's never going to happen. When you take into consideration dishes, laundry, showers, watering plants, there's no way that that water supply is going to last. It's impossible. And I strongly oppose this. The other issue is the infrastructure for the city, the entire city of Kingman. There's not enough jobs in this town to sustain this number of people. We already don't have enough jobs. And you guys need to seriously look at this. This town is going to end up as a ghost town in the next 30 years. Thank you.
Are there any others wishing to speak? Please come and form a line. I need your name and your address.
Sorry. Good afternoon. Larry Gray, 2130 Cherokee Circle. I wasn't planning on this today, believe me. But I wanted to respond to the first speaker, the proponent for the subdivision. We did have a preliminary meeting with that young woman, and unfortunately she brought out a map. She had 3 copies on a letter-sized paper, and this is kind of a duplication of it that I did, but in these gray shaded areas, that's the 2020 Fuller flood study, and it shows the flooding that takes place on that property, and you can see where he's trying to develop. So I put in a GIS, try to clean it up a little bit for you this morning. I have insomnia, so it worked out all right. It's hard to see the detail, but basically there's a high density of drainage networks in this property, and he has roadways going everywhere. And you can see this has a 100-year 6-hour peak flow of 588 CFS, yet he proposes roadways through there and homes. The only way you can develop this property with this drainage is through excessive cut and fill. What he's going to do, I assume, is to take material from grading lots and put it into the drainage ways. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense the way this is laid out anyway. It's just too high a density of homes and roadways for the topography. And I refer you to the county's own drainage design manual, and it specifies that you should try to maintain the natural drainage corridors, and this plan doesn't allow for that in any way. As you can see at this section, I don't know if you can read it, but again, it stresses natural corridors. I have property on my properties down below the
Time
drainage,
is up, sir.
and it's subject to flooding now. I have flooding
Thank
issues
you.
from Cherokee Circle and from the drainage ditch below me, which isn't even on
So you're
deeded
taking
drainage
up too
parcel that the
much
city has.
time.
It's on my property. It will be a drainage
you.
fiasco.
Next, sir. Don't encourage him.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Dan Jaquez, and I live in Rancho Santa Fe, 4368 Gemstone Avenue. And I want to tell you, when we bought our property, we came from out of state. We came here because of the climate, because of the environment, because of the views. And I love the Hualapai Mountains. So do my neighbors. The problem is we put in 500 houses so Anglo Homes can be happy. We're not happy. We don't have the appropriate sewage out there. We do not have a roadway that can be policed. Right now, we have a racetrack behind our house. We can't get a peace officer out there to fix this problem. You can see the skid marks, the burnouts, and all that good stuff. We've had the recent deaths out there. The infrastructure of Kingman, Arizona has to come before development. The developer stated she supposed their water process would provide proper pressures, but she couldn't say for certain that she was doing this. And this is what our developers are doing to our community. They're supposing, they're convincing you folks, and you wonderful folks that give your time, they're convincing you that they have a solution, but they really don't. They have a plan or a concept. And I'm tired of concepts. I want a plan that's going to support this. I came to Kingman for my forever home, for the home for my grandchildren and our families beyond that, because they're going to get my home. I'm not selling it. I'm going to give it away. But the point is, if we, Kingman, don't fix our infrastructure, don't support this growth, we are, like everybody said, going to kill our growth. We're going to kill our town. We're going to kill everything we know that we like, the wildlife, the adventure, the beauty, all this stuff. And it's your job, folks, to help us slow down and fix this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, good morning. My name is Rachel. I live at 3970 Dakota. I'm right on the edge of the proposal. And I just had two things. One, I wish I was independently wealthy and I could buy that property and give it to the city, because I am in that desert almost every single day, running, walking, or doing something. One of the things that I have two concerns. One, with this proposal, there are no walking trails. One of the things that myself and my neighbors, what we do, we love being out in the desert. And that is one thing that's really, I think, is really important for the infrastructure. And one thing I think is really lacking in our subdivisions here is that there's no walking trails. There's no opportunities for people to get out and safe places. You know, with this infrastructure, with all these cars, you don't want to be out on the road with your dogs, or there's lots of people ride their bikes out there. And so I wish they had these planned walking areas, these planned areas to keep natural, so that way the people who enjoy the mountains, the views, the different things. I also worry about my property value, just being on the corner. But the other thing is Dakota is, I don't know if you've driven on Dakota, but there's some serious dips in Dakota. And you have to really slow down so you don't bottom out. And so my house being right on that, I worry, you know, this additional infrastructure and more cars coming in, because I do have children and they're right there, and I just worry for my own personal safety as well. But I just hope that you can take into consideration everything that everyone's been saying and plan accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. Ralph Radovich, 850 Rawhide Drive in Rancho Santa Fe, and I do apologize for my appearance. I didn't expect to be addressing you today. With respect and by way of transparency, I would like to ask whether the developer has made any political or financial contributions to any of the supervisors, and to which.
We have no way of knowing that.
No, but the public does. You can look that up very easily right on the Mojave County website. Is that not correct? To see contributions to any public servant.
On the website. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name's Raymond Stein. I live at 2085 Cherokee Street. Early this year, people had talked about traffic. When we had that fire up there, we experienced traffic flow through here, and we watched emergency vehicles having trouble to get out to the fire because people were blocking the roads, and we watched them race up and down. Also, these developers, when we bought our house 6 years ago, did not clean up after their sites. I remember our next door neighbor's house was being built. We went there in the evening, picked up after their mess while the winds were blowing, and it blew out into that desert area, and we had to go out there and clean up. This is a problem that, coming from a small town in Riverside, California, where developers came in and turned a nice town like Kingman, the town we lived in, where people came from the cities with attitudes and couldn't politely say, hey, you got a problem, let's talk it out. They'd rather cuss you out, speed down streets, and not take their time. This is a slow pace. This is what we came here for, to get away from California. So thank you.
You're welcome. Next. That's quite all right.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Dwayne Bruce. I live at 3889 Dakota Road. This map that I see presented up here will turn Dakota Road into a major egress-ingress route to this new project. It's a 2-lane residential street that has a T intersection at the bottom with Seminole. That will be a major bottleneck. You're going to put traffic from 550 homes with Dakota. It doesn't exist that far up now, but it will in this project, down 3 routes to get out. It will be a nightmare. It already is sometimes, because Dakota is used heavily in the foothill estates area for coming in and going out. This will just tremendously increase it. The other thing I would speak to is the medical infrastructure that we have is not going to support what we have now. I died 2 years ago in the hospital because of a medical accident, spent 2 months in the hospital, lost 14 inches of intestine due to a medical accident. I just spent the last week in Phoenix. I go to the Mayo. I do not go to doctors here. I can get an appointment faster at the Mayo than I can in Kingman. Our infrastructure just does not support our present population. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next.
My name's Scott Klein Hesslink. I live at 4347 Gemstone here in Kingman. I moved up to the Kingman area away from California to get away from this stuff. Kingman does not have the infrastructure, much less does Rancho have the infrastructure to add on another 550 homes. And looking at the map, there's 2 ways in, 2 ways out. That means you're going to be putting another 1,000 plus cars on Wallapai and or Southern each and every day. Where are these people going to work? Where are their kids going to go to school? Where are their kids going to play? This city and that area does not have the infrastructure for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. My name is Nancy Karen. I live at 1500 Rawhide Drive. I moved here from California as a retired critical care nurse to make a better living. Unfortunately, there's really nothing to do in Kingman, and at the same time, with all of these housing developments, with the infrastructure coming up, what are these people going to do? Medical is down the drain, like most of these people are saying. The city's nice. but there's nothing to do for affordable, sometimes for families. A lot of these businesses are closing. I just, being a young retired person, I have to go other places sometimes just to find something, of essence to do. Kingman does not really have a lot to offer, and with all of these houses supposedly are going to be coming to fruition, I just wanted to express myself about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning. My name is George Noyes. I live at 2125 Cherokee Circle, and I think possibly you might go to some outside consultants to see actually what's in the best interest of the community for infrastructure and anything and everything else affiliated with that. I also think there's an unknown in regard to the water consumption, and there's a lot of tourism coming through here, which generates higher uses of the consumption of that. Other than that, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to talk? I was just going to finish up.
We have one more.
My name is David Lackey. I live at 2591 Diamond Spur Street. And after seeing some of the maps displayed today, it appears that Diamond Spur is going to be one of the major thoroughfares off of Southern, helping to supply this particular area. I'm not against growth, but it looks to me as if Angle has changed it from what the original proposal was 35 homes to 550 on 350 acres. I'd like to see this at the very least revert back to their original proposal and more study and looking into this before we make any permanent decisions. This gentleman that showed the water drainage that goes through that area, every year when we get a solid rainfall, Diamond Spur is inundated by a foot of water. And I'm concerned about that in the future. So at the minimum, I'd like to see this revert back to their original proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm pulling up the rear here. Kathy Tackett Hicks again, acting as the owner's agent. The owners are here as well if there's something I can't answer, but I think I can answer most of it. I tried to take notes on the comments that were made. First of all, Angle Homes did not propose AR-10 development at all. That was never in they did not do that. So there's no reversion to their initial plan. There is concern about utilities. The items that they're talking about occur in the city of Kingman: water, sewer, housing, medical care, all those things. I can tell all the people that those are on the radar. That's why the county and the municipalities continue to do studies. That's why the housing study was presented. That's why developers are coming forward to try to fill the gap that's there that we know about in 20, 30, and 40-year segments. This is not going to happen overnight. This is going to take a long time. And I told you, or I expressed before, that if this project goes for the first phase, maybe it's 100 lots, I have no idea. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 200. We have to go to the MUC committee and ask them if they're going to be able to extend that infrastructure for this use. If they say no, game over. When we go to the city of Kingman, they are the 100-year adequate supply entity in this area. Not lots of jurisdictions have it. Normally projects have to submit their own plan to ADWR to get that. In this case, City of Kingman is responsible for their 100-year water adequacy for developments. If this is presented to them and they approve it, that means they have done the study to ensure that there is water for this. There is well beyond a 100-year water supply for this area. Everyone is trying to be smart. If you look at the housing study, it says we're short of a few different things, and one of those is we need to do a better job in master planning. This helps that because we're planning in a sequential, pragmatic order how we're going to bring some of these houses on. This does not happen overnight. Transportation issues. I brought to your attention the fact that Rattlesnake Wash is going to come through. It's going to go by this area. And I can assure you, a lot of those people that in Wallapai foothills need to get out to I-40, they're going to be thrilled. Rancho Santa Fe, instead of having to go all the way down to Wallapai, over to Andy Devine, up, this is going to be game on. It's going to be awesome. I told you there's extensive commercial planned at that intersection. It's really going to be helpful. But so all of us, there's such great challenges with bringing forth a draft conceptual plan, because then everyone attacks it when from this side we're just trying to say, oh, it might look something like this. That area that I showed you that showed we want to do a maximum of 550 lots. We've agreed that the lots fronting on Cherokee to those 1 acre lots, those fronting lots would also be 1 acre to match that. This development proposal absolutely fits in beautiful, because it's matching half-acre lots to half-acre lots, 1 acre lots to 1 acre lots. I mean, this is not just spur of the moment, let's build a zillion homes. There's so much planning that's already done. But what the chairman indicated before, this is just the first step. There are probably, and it used to be, probably 23, 24 individual approvals through departments, city, county, MUC, ADEQ. I mean, so many approvals that are required to get this thing even off the ground. The risk is extensive for someone to take on a project like this. Let's see. So when we have to do transportation, that is done by a professional transportation engineer. And Mojave County has Steve Latosky as their public works. He's primo, nationally certified. He's all about the traffic. So this is going to be looked at. There are numerous outlets proposed for this project. I have no idea how they're going to distribute that traffic, if it's going to go on Diamond Spur, Dakota, or if they're going to pave Cherokee, if they're going to have Cheyenne. Okay, no idea. No one does, because we don't even know the first phase, because we're not there yet. When we present for infrastructure extensions, civil engineers have to do those studies. They have to understand pressures. They have to understand line sizes. They have to understand scour effects. They have to understand water pressure. All those things occur in the next few steps. This is just a land entitlement for a rezone.
Do you know how many houses are going to be in your first phase?
No. Do you guys have any idea? No. So this is the first thing. So we presented this draft plan just to get an idea. Those are created. This area is hilly in nature. There are some washes. I know the engineers on this staff and Rex understand you have alluvial fans and stuff like that. It's true that the waterways will be protected. Mojave County has the jurisdiction. Their flood control area reviews these things. There will be retention basins. There will be all sorts of things to protect the pre and post flows. And I guess there's just one other item that I heard. Many of the surrounding residents use this private property as walking areas, bikes, and it is private property, I would remind everyone, and they've had the benefit and blessing of being able to use it for their own purposes for a long time, but it is private property. Angle Homes is currently working with the city on a walking path through Wallapai foothills. It goes up. I mean, they're involved in numerous city and county programs. One of them is the walking path. Am I right? Yeah. And I know they're involved in the downtown areas too.
So are you planning on any kind of recreational spaces?
So I think when you normally do this, you have some layouts that'll be driven by the drainage plan.
Right.
Because there'll be open retention bases. Can we use it as a joint use for just an open space, walking trails, biking? Is there any turf areas? Probably not, because people don't want grass because they don't want to water. I mean, there's so many things that you juggle to get through, but there will be natural open spaces because of the drainage requirements.
Thank you. Any commissioners have any questions? Bradshaw?
Thank you. Maybe as a matter of order, we should close the public hearing before we address questions.
Well, actually, we're still in the public hearing.
Well, then,
aren't we?
We are.
I think I'm the last.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I am going to close the public hearing. Yes, ma'am? Somebody said something.
There was one other participant who wanted to address.
Very briefly. Well, I have to open the public hearing in order for you to do that. So come on down and I will open it again.
And I have one question for staff.
Okay. Go ahead and ask it and then we'll get to her.
All these developments that are being brought here to Kingman and using up our desert, I don't see any retention basins in here, and she did mention it, but I don't see anything. You're going to have a lot of sheet flow. What are they going to do with the sheet flow? Does Kingman have any in place? I don't see them on here.
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Hubbard, so this item is a rezone, so this is only changing the zoning of the property. When it comes time to design the actual subdivision, that will be part of that preliminary plat process, and so when the preliminary plat gets brought before the commission, that's where you'll see all of the drainage and stormwater and actual design.
This goes before it goes to supervisors? If the supervisors see this, there isn't anything like that on here. So is there another that goes to somebody else to make sure that this thing is done right?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Hubbard, yes, so this is just for the zoning on the parcel.
Okay.
When like Matthew said, if approved and the developer wants to move forward with the subdivision, they have to submit a preliminary plat, and that would have to meet all of the requirements that the county has as far as retention, drainage, road infrastructure, any of the items that we're discussing will have to be addressed, and then we bring that to the commission as for the preliminary plat and the final plat, and then that will go to the Board of Supervisors.
So before any decision that has, okay.
This is just for the zoning of the parcel.
I know that, but I want to make sure between here and there, things are done right.
Yeah, so if approved, we would make sure that it is done correctly.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I take great offense at the fact that there's nothing to do here. There are fantastic sunrises, sunsets, fresh air, stars. What more do you want? You come to an area like this, not for Broadway shows, not for plays, not for movies, to enjoy nature. This is a wonderful city, and our library, you got nothing to do? Go read a book. Get a movie. That's not what this town is about. Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the things that everyone has to understand is that all the property we are talking about is private property. It's owned by someone. And the fact that them building a house on their property is going to destroy your view, it is their right to do that. Having said that, any other commissioners? Commissioner Bradshaw.
Yes, thank you. So I have a couple of questions and comments. Number one, I wanted to talk about zoning is the first step to this planning process. Right. Without the zoning, there is no options to move forward, either by the developer, by future infrastructures, by the traffic, by bringing schools online. These processes allow people to believe in the future and to have a process to say there is something we have now. We can advance some of these infrastructures and facilities. I know people don't love that their area is being burdened by this development. That is the nature of private property ownership. And I do have a few questions for the applicant, if you would. So we talked about the sewer. Well, let me start with open space, parks, and trails. So I know that I just barely said that the zoning is the first thing, and then I jump into actually development questions. So, number one, I appreciate the effort that you've gone through to put the buffer zones in from these larger lots to the smaller. I think that is very admirable. Parks and open space. Do you plan on something on this property, or is there auxiliary areas that you plan on utilizing? Obviously, to the all of the opponent's points, This is 2,500 people, give or take. They need some place to recreate and outdoors.
So 550 lots at 2.5 would be less than 2,500 people. But let me get back to the question. So what I indicated, the final land planning for the site has not been done. It'll be highly dependent on the drainage issues. And I will turn around and ask the developers first. So any planning that they do has to comply with the county requirements for open space and recreation, which I do not believe there are many. So the open spaces are going to be connected with the drainage. Have you guys considered any? We have the walking trail that the Angle is currently working on, and I don't know if it'll be connected.
If I speak, it's
Travin.
Travin with the developer. Let me throw up sorry. Give me yeah, we'll stick with that. In this all this area is at the base of the Wallapies, right? I'll call there's the big Wallapies that you take Wallapie Mountain Road up to, you arrive at, and then I'll call this little I'll call it the little Wallapai Mountain Range, right? Right above Rancho Santa Fe, right above the white water tank up there. There's a smaller mountain range, and currently we are working with both Jeremy Palmer with the Mojave County Parks Department, and we're asking that the county petition BLM to acquire a large park. Like the ask is a large ask, like 200-acre park up at the base of this mountain range right here. It would have access off this pink road, the future Rancho Santa Fe Parkway. And I think something we'd definitely be willing to offer is this utility corridor. It's probably difficult, probably can't read it, but there's a stretch of gas lines and overhead power lines that kind of riddle. It goes diagonally right through the southeast corner of this subdivision, the yellow area. We would like to offer like a trail corridor to be able to get to this future park from our subdivision, but this whole area. And I'd also like to state, let me see your pin. Yes. This right here, we're currently working with the city on.
You're off pull it over.
Okay,
there you
sorry about that. We're currently working with the city of Kingman to fund and build 1 mile of paved trail that goes from Cheyenne to Southern. That's a project that's fully funded at this point. We're just kind of waiting for a thumbs up from the city of Kingman. So when we talk about some of these items like open spaces and parks, it is things that we think about and we do care about, but we also want to deliver a good sound product that's sustainable, that's going to be maintained, that's going to, whether it's in the county or the city, that there's future funds to do that. So just wanted to mention in this area, there's this future possibility that we're going to have a large county park managed by the county. You can confirm that maybe with staff here today or confirm that with Parks Department. But
water tank there.
Yes. Water tank is right there. Just south, just on the other side of those power lines from the water tank, just on the uphill, that smaller range. And we'd like to take that's BLM land for public recreation. We'd like to have a county park there, maybe 200 acres as a trailhead. You could riddle that mountain range with 20, 30 miles of mountain bike trails, public. So yeah, and then this entire neighborhood has a trail corridor to be able to get to this, right? You take your family. Also, I'd like to say that Angle Homes has been working on a trail project with the city of Kingman for probably the last 5 years, but the concept, this 1 mile of trail that I mentioned is phase 1 of like 12 phases, but it creates a 12-mile loop. It would end up at this county park, right? You could get on this loop here, go over by the new Kingman Crossings off-ramp. It'll actually, ADOT is going to accommodate a pedestrian access underneath and through one of the existing drainage culverts that are there that's no longer needed for future pedestrian trail access. So in the future, we're going to have this 12-mile loop. Maybe it's probably a 10, 15-year plan, but ends up at a new county park at the base of this mountains. And so I think in the future, this entire area is going to have a lot of recreation options.
Okay,
Thank
that
you.
answers some questions, some of my questions. I have one more. And this one is really my angst about this entire project. I'm going to be just blunt as blunt. Why aren't you in the city of Kingman? You're getting all of your utilities, all of your infrastructure, all of your management, all of your EMS, everything is coming. If you don't do this, if you don't get into the city of Kingman now, you never will be able to. So why not go for an annexation?
So you're not the first to bring that up, and I would let you know that Mr. Engel had approached the city about being annexed, and they're not interested at this time.
Surprises me.
Open door policy, we're interested in having those conversations. But do you agree that that's a purely political thing, right? It's either the politicians on the city council want to entertain that or they don't. There's nothing I can do to maybe make that happen.
Okay,
I have a comment.
go right ahead.
Kathy, you do a great job. What
Thanks.
scares me is the density.
Pardon me? What is the density? So the overall density at 550 lots for 320 acres,
Especially
1.7.
the 10,000 square foot minimum lot sizes.
So the overall density for 320 acres would be 1.7 dwelling units per acre, is what it ultimately equals. So the general plan designation of low density residential, and I know some people feel like this is high density, but high density can be 25 units per acre. So 1.7 is a very low density. So the general plan currently allows for up to 5. We're proposing 1.7.
Some questions as well.
Yeah.
So how does this density compare to, say, the east half of Section 20 on Wolf Mountain Road? Which is
East
that
half of 20
subdivision
on where?
between Central and Seneca, less than a mile away.
Landers?
Yes. Well, Landers,
I worked on that.
Schroeder, who else?
This density is a lot less.
It's a lot less.
A lot less than.
So they already have higher density within less than a mile.
Yeah, and this proposal matches the existing density in these areas.
Yeah. So as far as you know, these people that got up and said, "Oh, I was assured that no development would happen. It was BLM land." I mean, what's the history of the ownership of this property? It's always been private, as far as I know.
Yeah, I believe it's always been private, and I do public hearings all over the Southwest, and I just cringe when people say that. I don't know if it's the realtors, I don't know who tells people this, but there is never a guarantee that something is not going to be built. Your best chance is if it is BLM property, and I mean, it's a bummer. It's a bummer if they really believe this, but private property can always be developed. And I am aware sometimes they'll say, well, no development is proposed in the next 10 years, which is a true statement. But here we are.
So second question, or this is more of a comment. As far as the infrastructure is concerned and the water pressure and everything else, I have quite a bit of intimate knowledge in what goes on specifically in this area.
Okay.
The city of Kingman has planned for literally 40 years for water infrastructure and development in this area, to the extent that they've moved tanks, they've built more tanks. They have charged property owners with vacant property tens of thousands of dollars and forced them to upsize water lines to service these areas, to include areas such as this within the pressure zone of the city water service. Likewise, there's sewer. I mean, I don't know where they're going to tie in, but there's sewer relatively close. Not relatively close, what, a mile or two, but relatively close on Wolf Mountain Road and I believe in Rancho Santa Fe as well.
Yeah. On Louise, yeah.
On Louise? Okay.
Louise.
So, but Louise is a mile and a half, 2 miles away?
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Schools. People are complaining about schools. That's not within the purview of this commission to address. And the school district, whenever they bring stuff up for a vote, the community fails to adequately fund or address schools. And that's not up to us to fix. That's up to the school district to fix.
Right, and I would just add to that, that by the creation of lots, the school systems, Kingman Unified School District would start receiving real dollars in terms of tax revenues for a project like this. This is how they get revenues.
That's the minute it's actually subdivided into individual lots, the taxes go up a lot before a house is ever built. Dakota Road, I've heard somebody complain about that. There's, it is a T-bone intersection, and I may be speaking out of turn on this, and this may not exist anymore. But I know at one point there was right-of-way for Dakota Road directly across the street from its intersection, its existing paved intersection with Seneca, and they could just continue it on there as a possibility to help alleviate traffic. I don't know. That's just a comment I had.
I'm not familiar with that.
Medical infrastructure, if people have issues with that, perhaps they should attend the hospital board meetings, address both your elected hospital board and then the unelected hospital board that's appointed by the hospital CEO of Kingman Healthcare Incorporated. That's the board that handles that. And as far as the flooding issue, I do know Mojave County Flood Control District operates under some fairly strict guidelines and has a fairly heavy hand in assuring that all flood control ordinances and laws are met, and all developments have to meet that. So those are pretty much all the comments I had at this point.
Commissioner.
It wasn't a question, a statement, but you brought up a really good point. Every person has said that they currently enjoy that land. It's a recorded meeting. It is trespassing. You can just look back and see who's currently enjoying your private property.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
No questions, just make a comment when we're finished. I just, again, we hear this all the time that, I came here for the wide open spaces. I came here for the desert. Again, I enjoy my view. Somebody's taking my view. Again, those are private property parcels. The idea that somebody cannot develop something because it might block your existing view, they're the ones who spent the money on that land. They have the right to develop it. And anybody on this side of town who doesn't think there's going to be more development on that side of town, you're just going to need to change your reality. It's not going to, with Rancho Santa Fe Parkway and the interchange, this area is going to grow tremendously. And the people who own those parcels have the right to develop it. And this is, again, they pointed out, this is a lower zoning density than what they could have asked for. So, to that extent, I applaud them for not being super greedy and trying to go down to, 10,000 square foot lots. So.
Any further questions?
No.
Sir, you do not have permission to speak. Yes, you do, but so do I. It is past time for that. Okay, no more questions from them? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will now entertain a motion.
I move to approve with staff recommendations and the restriction of acre lots across the street from acre lots as presented by the developer.
No more than 500. No more than.
And no more than 550 lots.
And I'll second that motion.
Oh, Rouge. Okay, I have a motion by Patillo and a second by Rouge. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And I'm going to call a 15-minute recess.
I don't think your mic's on.
Turn your mic on.
It's on.
Okay.
Item number 1, Melanie Stradland.
Item number 1 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel numbers 402-6604-8 from an RE10A residential recreation 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an RE5A residential recreation 5-acre minimum lot size zone and RE2A residential recreation 2-acre minimum lot size zone and an RE1A residential recreation 1-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for minor land division in the Desert Springs vicinity. The staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here that wishes to speak? Is the applicant present? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have any questions. Then I will call for a motion.
I move that we approve item number 1 with staff recommendations.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Bradshaw, seconded by Commissioner, what is it?
Helms.
Ellis, sorry.
Helms.
All in
Ellis is
favor
good.
say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. And we move to item number 2, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 2 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a high-density residential land use designation to a suburban development area land use designation and a rezone from a C2 general commercial zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for RVs as temporary residence for assessors parcel numbers 402-84024, 025, 026, 027, 028, 029, 030 and 031 in the scenic vicinity. This part of this area was previously approved for an RV park that was never built out. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is present. Anyone wishing to speak on this item? I'm going to close the public hearing. Does any commissioners have any questions?
I actually have a couple simple, quick ones.
Commissioner Bradshaw.
Thank you. So I'm looking online, looking at the image. It looks like there's a graded subdivision next door. Maybe you can help me understand the history of that. And then temporary RVs. What does that mean? Does that mean temporary for 30 days? Temporary for 30 years? What's the
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Bradshaw. So there is a platted subdivision. It's a multi-phase subdivision. Currently, only one phase has been built out, and that is south of Elbow Canyon. So that area, that part of the subdivision that's north of it, there is an approved preliminary plat, but no final plats have been done. I know that property has changed hands several times. I've talked to new owners over the years about possibly finishing it out. So far, we haven't received any final plats for review on that subdivision. And then as for, I apologize, what was the other part of your question?
Well, actually, now I have a couple more. So number one is timing of a temporary RV, and then utilities for a temporary RV. What are the criteria?
Right, so we call them temporary residences just because RVs are temporary in nature. So you can apply for a temporary residence permit with the county, which would allow you to live in the RV on your property for up to 1 year, and that is renewable. So you could renew it each year. In order to get that, you do need a septic system on site before we can approve that permit. I know there are other utilities as far as water and electricity in the area for them to provide for those lots as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I am going to ask for a motion.
Motion to deny.
We We have a motion to deny. Do you have a second? Patillo. Okay, I have a motion to deny by Martin, seconded by Commissioner Petrillo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Hubbard? Aye. Commissioner Bradshaw?
Aye.
Commissioner Helms?
Against.
Vice Chair Gillette?
Against?
Commissioner Patillo?
I'm
You just got confused. I just confused
I'm not,
everyone.
I'm not clear on which way we should go.
Are you going with the deny or
I'm going with the deny.
you're a
Yeah,
yes?
that's what you seconded.
Okay. Commissioner Martin?
Deny.
Commissioner Ruge?
Approve.
It passes 3-4.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, we move on to item number 3. Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 3 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to Board of Supervisors Resolution number 2024-045 to amend the location of the zoning designations for assessor's parcel number 225-14019 in the Mojave Valley vicinity. The applicant came in earlier to rezone to the different zones of AR, agricultural residential, CMO, commercial manufacturing and open lot storage, and CRE, commercial recreation. As they were going through the site plan review process, they realized that logistically they wanted the location of those zones to change for the different uses that they want to have there on the property. And so this amendment is amending where those lines are to better accommodate their site development. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is here and if you wish to speak. Hearing none, I'm going to ask if anyone else is interested in speaking. I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have any questions. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion.
I move that we approve item 3 with staff recommendations.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Bradshaw, seconded by Commissioner Hubbard. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 4, Melanie Strandon.
Item number 4 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 306-52013 to allow for an accessory residence exceeding 50% the size of the primary residence in an AR1A, agricultural residential 1 acre minimum lot size zone in the Golden Valley vicinity. The applicant requests a special use permit to allow for a second residence of approximately 1,152 square feet in conjunction with the existing residence that is 2,048 square feet. The proposed accessory residence will be actually 56% the size of the existing primary residence. We've received 3 letters of opposition to this special use permit request. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is here and if you wish to speak. Hearing none, is anyone else interested in speaking on this item? Please come forward and give your name and your address.
Hi, I'm Sandra Hedrick. I live at 612 South Tonto in Golden Valley. It's called Rancho Verde Estates. When we bought our lot many years ago, and everybody since then has received CC&Rs, and they are filed with the county, and it says on number 5 that you cannot build 2 dwellings on 1 parcel. These people are trying to build this. It's larger than half of the original dwelling. They also did not indicate on their map that there's a flood channel in between their house and the house behind there. When the flood channel floods, which it does every 2 years, the water comes rushing down into my yard. I live catty corner to these people. They propose to put in a septic tank, an additional septic tank. Now, they've had a lot of problems with their original one. Now they want to put in another one. It's going to be 30 feet or 34 feet from the flood channel. Now, I've already lost 4 foot of my easement at my flood channel. So what happens when it rains and this septic blows and it comes down into my yard, because it all comes down and my backyard floods? Also, let's see, what else do I want to say? I'm sorry. I have a petition. You should have gotten a copy of it. There's 4 on the original, and there's an extra one. I have 5 people out of 9 that oppose this. I have 2 from out of state that are supposedly en route. I just want to say, please don't let our little Rancho Verde estates turn into what's happening up here in Kingman. We love our area. We love that it's nice and quiet. If you let one person put 2 houses on one lot, pretty soon everybody go, oh, well, the guy in the corner's got 2. I can put 2. I can put 2. And pretty soon we're going to have more traffic, more water being used, more pollution, more, what is it going to do to our road? Thank you.
Would this set a precedence?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the ordinance already allows for all residential properties to have an accessory residence. So they currently can have an accessory residence. We don't regulate the CCNRs. That's not our purview. According to our ordinance, we would approve an accessory residence on this parcel if it was less than 50% of their primary residence. Or they could come in and build a house that is twice the size of their current house, and then that meets our standards as well, because that house now becomes the primary residence, as the current house would then be the accessory residence because it's 50% less. What we're bringing to you today is it's a special use permit that is allowed within our ordinance, allows you to build an accessory structure that is 50% or more than the primary residence. If they were to reduce that by the 6%, they could already apply for permits and get that accessory residence right now.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Bradshaw.
Thank you. These are recorded CCNRs against this or in favor of this development that actually has a statement in there that you cannot build more than one single-family dwelling. So how does that, there's a state statute that says that all residential lots, it's new, that all residential lots can have, by statute, an accessory dwelling. However, they do give deference to CCNRs and HOAs. So how does the county just arbitrarily give a building permit when there's CCNRs against it?
Madam Chair, the CCNRs would override any approval that we give.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Bradshaw, the CCNRs are not regulated by us. So if somebody does go in and put in an accessory residence, it would have to be fought through those CCNRs and not the county. Our ordinance allows for it outright in any residential subdivision. The CCNRs can have stricter regulations, but they're not enforced by us. They're enforced by the CCNR or the HOA.
I think this is a moot point. I'd like to make a motion to deny.
Oh, hang on a second. I'm not ready.
I just want to be clear. Is the applicant available by phone at all? I mean, has the applicant made no attempt to be present?
Apparently not. I'm going to close the public hearing. I forgot to do that. And
I would like to just so I don't feel like that it's in our purview to go against the CCNRs, particularly when an individual has shown up saying this is against our CCNRs. And so I second the motion on the table.
So we have a motion to deny.
Motion to deny.
And we have a second. Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
I think this is passed. Okay. Item number 5, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 5 is an evaluation of a request for an extension of time for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 317 49107 to allow for the completion of conditions of Board of Supervisors Resolution 2022-021, which approved a night watchman's quarters in a CMO, commercial manufacturing, open lot storage zone in the White Hills vicinity. The applicant requests more time to be able to now bring the caretaker's residence to the site. They're waiting for the residence to be built, and so they're ready to now bring it on site. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, as subject to the following: remaining in compliance with the conditions of the original Board of Supervisors Resolution number 2022-021, and this extension of time will be in effect until December 9th, 2025.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is present and if you wish to speak. Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak on this subject, on this item? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask the commissioners if they have any questions or comments. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion.
Motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Rouge. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 6, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 6 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a rural development area to an urban development area land use designation and a rezone of assessors parcel numbers 317, 60019, 020, 022, 023, 024, 025, 026, 027, 028, and 029 from an R2 medium density residential and AR 36A agricultural residential, the 36-acre minimum lot size zones, to an SDM special development manufacturing zone to allow for industrial and manufacturing uses in the White Hills vicinity. This is part of the Entrada project that came before the board a while ago now. There's been some new development and up by where the windmills are located in the White Hills area. There's now a proposed solar facility on BLM property up there. And so in kind of conjunction with the solar facility, they're looking to, instead of having a residential subdivision in this area, change that to excuse me, more manufacturing. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Okay, thank you very much. Open the public hearing. Is the applicant here, and do you wish to speak?
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the owner's agent for this application. Matt, thank you. He brought up several of the issues that promulgated this request. This is part of the Entrada, so there's a couple of reasons why we did it. One, there's a proposed mega solar project right to the north of the Entrada project. You look at that map. There is an existing 200-foot right-of-way along there, which is a nice buffer, but still it would not be appropriate to put residential. So we're proposing this for the SDM, which is a special district manufacturing zone. So that works better for that adjacent use right there, complementary use. In addition, there's additional parcels that have been purchased outside of, in addition to the Entrada project, but outside of the original application. This includes those properties. And thirdly, we have completed general engineering on the water and wastewater components. Master conceptual planning has been completed, and the engineer recommends that within this location might be a good location for a wastewater treatment facility for the project. So with those three reasons, I guess the fourth reason is we've had a tremendous amount of interest in manufacturing, industrial uses connected with the project and connected with the airport. So for those reasons, I would ask you please approve it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't see any road. So is egress and ingress, is that on that map? And I'm just not seeing it.
There are some existing. So along the north is that 200-foot right-of-way. Along the east side, Fairway does have existing right-of-way. Along there are interior easements that go through here. I am evaluating the overall project right now to see which properties, which access ways we're going to use ultimately and everything. But right now, all of these have legal access.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask if there's any questions that you have, commissioners. Commissioner Padilla?
Will we get a new book one day?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Just
When we
maybe
get
a
that
quick-
first.
I say just maybe a quick statement if I could
Yeah.
have a chance. And it really is just about being proactive, knowing that we don't have a lot of oversight on the BLM. And so, I know that the BLM is aggressive about putting this solar plant in. And so I think it is wise to be proactive at this level.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And ask for a motion.
Motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner Patillo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 7, Matthew Gunnison.
Item number 7 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel numbers 329, 06, 268, 269, 270, 271, and 272 from an R1 1A single-family residential 1 acre minimum lot size zone to an AR agricultural residential zone to allow for RVs as temporary residences and accessory structures in the White Hills vicinity. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open a public hearing and ask if the applicant is present. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have any questions.
I have a question for staff.
Commissioner Portillo.
Is this application in conjunction with any sort of code enforcement?
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Patillo, I would have to double check to verify. I don't know off the top of my head. I know this area does have a lot of parcels that were previously rezoned to the AR zone to allow for RVs. And so once that first large chunk went in, they've slowly been trickling in over time just with people interested in it. I'm not aware of a code violation currently, but I would have to double check and look.
So this existing subdivision does have other parcels that are zoned, just like this one?
That is correct, yes.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion.
Motion to approve per staff recommendation.
I have a motion by Commissioner Martin,
I'll second.
seconded by,
Helms.
I wanted to call you Bo.
Oh, Bo's fine too.
Helms. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. It's been a long day. Item number 8, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 8 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a light industrial land use designation to a general commercial land use designation and a rezone from an AR10A agricultural residential 10 acre minimum lot size zone to a C2H highway commercial zone for assessor's parcel number 207-19004 to allow for future commercial and multifamily development in the Yucca vicinity. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is present, and do you wish to speak? Do you wish to speak? Come on down.
Okay, first I'll introduce my name. I'm Andrew Woolman. I live opposite of where the 4 10-acre lots are. I've been there for 19 years.
Are you the applicant?
Am I?
Are you the applicant?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It's open.
Try to make it brief because I know this is important, but it shouldn't be long-lasting. But here's my opinion as a homeowner.
As I said, I've lived there in February, it'll be 19 years. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, folks. Exit, number 1 point. We have one exit in and out of Fountain Hills Boulevard to go in our property. When I bought the property, we had Fountain Hills. Then he built Desert Fountain.
Is he in the right one? Sir.
Yes.
You're on the wrong item.
Okay.
I believe you're on the wrong item.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure.
Well, they said it takes place at 1 o'clock, so is that right?
Well, we've been here since 9:30, actually. But we're talking about item number 8 right now,
All right, which is?
which is an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan.
Okay, no.
Okay.
I'm
have
just
a
waiting
seat.
for the one then.
Then have a seat, and we will call you when you...
Okay, I'm looking for the one that involved the 4 10-acre lots, okay?
I think we may have already heard that one.
They said it starts at 1 o'clock. I have it right on my phone.
This is the first. I've never had this happen before. Does it say the item number on your
I'm going to try to find it,
phone?
man. Just hang on 1 second here. I don't know if I'll even get reception in here.
What area was it concerning that
The
you
4 10-acre lots that Engel is trying to build,
We already did those.
Oh, we did those.
We already did that.
Those at 10 o'clock.
why does it say 1 o'clock?
Where does it say that?
It said it on my email, sir.
These
I was
meetings,
wondering why there's no cars here.
this meeting always starts at 10.
Well, I got it on my phone from somebody that advertised it. Can you give me its synopsis of what transpired? Whether there were yays, nays?
We approved it.
Yeah, we
You
did.
approved his building it?
We approved it.
The zoning.
You did.
We did approve the zoning.
Okay, now just have one question, and only one question, since I had more than that. Is he going to be demanded to give us an access road in case of a fire? Because it was granted to Desert Fountain, and you people have never put in an access road.
We don't do that.
A
That's
traffic
not our
study will be
job.
required, and it will,
Commissioners, I would also advise, the public believes that we've already discussed this. To go into more discussion would
Yes.
probably be a disservice to the people that who did
that's
come on
fair.
time.
Thank you.
Oh, so what you're saying is that it's been approved, but now it's up to the county?
No, it's up to the Board of Supervisors at this
On
point.
December the 2nd.
It's gone
right
to the
here,
next level.
Madam
10
Chair,
o'clock in the morning.
Madam Chair, what I would suggest is if the gentleman would like to speak to a staff member, we'd be happy to fill him in and let him know all this information right
Thank
after
you
the meeting,
very
if that's
much.
okay.
Thank you.
That would
Thank
be
you.
great if I could do that. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Well, do you have a seat? And as soon as the meeting is over, they will be able to talk to you.
That's fine.
I do have someone who wants to speak on this item, Ashley Snodgrass.
Hello.
Hello.
Ashley Snodgrass. I live at 16394 South Burt Avenue, just in the adjacent Buckeye Havasu Heights neighborhood. And I'm speaking on behalf of the neighbors in the back and everybody else there. We don't want this rezoned commercial. We have a really tight-knit little community there of about maybe 40 houses. And we don't want our exit turned into a commercial garbage trap like what's up just 2 exits at Alamo. There's plenty of dead commercial zones in town that they could be used and revitalize the community in town. We just don't want commercial out in our residential neighborhood that's, we enjoy the dark skies and the quiet in the community, and we don't want that to change.
Did you say you're from Havasu Heights?
It's Havasu Buckeye Heights is the name of the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
So we're outside of that. We're just right by this.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else want to speak on this item? Item number 8. Okay, this is the strangest meeting I've ever had in my life. There are a lot of firsts. Okay, so I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have anything that they would like to ask.
I got a question.
Okay,
Is this a
Commissioner
location?
Hubbard.
Is this a location in Yucca that's already been cleared? It's not the area? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, any more questions from the commissioners? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
I make a motion to deny.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Hubbard, seconded by Commissioner Martin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This is denied. Item number 9, staff report by Matthew Gunderson.
Helps if I turn on my microphone. Item number 9 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor's parcel number 344-02032 from an AR9A agricultural residential 9-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR5A agricultural residential 5-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a minor land division in the Kingman vicinity. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is present. Do you wish to speak? Okay, he will be here for questions. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if any commissioners have any questions. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion.
Move to approve with staff recommendations.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Patillo, seconded by Commissioner
Rugi.
Rugi. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item number 13, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 13 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 333-42017 to allow for a 195-foot wireless telecommunication tower in an AR36A agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone in the Valley Vista vicinity. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to these standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is the applicant present, and do you wish to speak?
Vice Chair Gillette?
Yes.
He's on Teams.
Okay. Hello. Do you wish to speak?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is John Katziris with Pinnacle Consulting. Just real quick, this is a basic request. The area has really bad reception and capacity. We're looking to provide the service to the community by the least intrusive means that we can. The facility will be co-locatable, so other carriers are able to have a presence in the community without building another facility. The cellular and data coverage is vital to the infrastructure nowadays. To these communities, to the best of my knowledge, we've met all of the county conditions for the request. And we do also we've brought a third-party RF engineer with years of experience, and he's available to explain any more technical aspects if needed. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Anyone else wishing to speak on this subject? Would you come to the podium, please? Name and address.
Dirk Van Voors, 8586 Huntington Avenue. Our property butts right up to that parcel. We've been building up there for almost 4 years. So we have built our homestead up there, and I also moved my business up there from Mesa, Arizona. My business is a unmanned aircraft manufacturing, mostly R&D. So what we did is we moved our homestead up there, built that up there, and I also have, as you can see here, been working with the FAA since March. I have 2 runways up there, for testing. What this telecommunications tower will do, it will totally corrupt what I'm doing up there. And we are approximately, one of my runways is about, here's another map, from the corner of the property, about 2,000 feet away from the corner of where that parcel is. I don't know if the contractor that's doing this has looked into the FAA website about, they probably haven't done their due diligence, but we set this up very specific where we put it, why we put it there, for our arrivals, our departures, and all our testing. The structure is going to impede not only our natural landscape views, it's going to be in the way of all my operations. All the different frequencies that communications tower is going to emit 360 degrees is going to disrupt all the frequencies that I use. We manufacture firefighting equipment and stuff for firefighting and DoD. So those are my big concerns. We've invested quite a bit of money in the projects, and this is really going to disrupt what is going on. So I don't mind it being out there. It needs to be in a very different location, though.
Has the applicant contacted you in any way?
Not in any way.
And my experience has been when you have a runway, usually there is record of the fact that it is a runway somewhere.
Yes, it's in the ADIP program, the FAA's ADIP. Here it is right here. It's probably hard to see. That's their airport directory and information portal. Like I said, we've been working with them since March. Yeah, getting it outlaid, their system takes forever. It's a process of getting all their people together and getting put on the charts. It is a private airport, such like Music Mountain that's out there. It is private, but it needs to be put on the charts. So that's why we go through this process, because it is still a construction and a new construction, but it does have to go through the FAA.
Well, my experience has been that if you have a private runway, it makes it very limited what people can build around it, especially something that's high.
Yes, it causes a lot of trouble. Yes.
Yeah.
And that should have been part of their due diligence in the whole process. So I don't know where we got kind of missed in the whole evaluation.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
As far as staff's concerned, we're trying to look and research. We're not aware of any approvals for this airport. I'd ask the speaker, have they gone through the county processes?
We started at the federal level because that's where we have to start. They require 90-day advance notice for planning and all that. So we start at the federal level and we have to work our way down.
Does anybody know what the applicant's name is? I don't know.
My name is
call you.
John Ketzers with Pinnacle Consulting.
Pinnacle Consulting.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'm going to call you John. Were you aware of this airport?
No, ma'am. So we did get a state FAA issued determination of no hazard. It seems like they may not be aware of this strip either.
Approval process. Typically, any private or public air or landing strip or airport would have to go through either a special use permit process through this commission and through the Board of Supervisors, as well as a site plan through our planning and zoning department. And if he is manufacturing parts out there, that would also have to go through our approval process as well.
Correct.
We have not contacted that because we are an R&D facility, so we haven't really, even in the Kingman, as far as business licenses and all that, we don't fall into that because we are not making money. We are self-funded.
Madam Chair, as far as planning and zoning is concerned, we don't look at licenses, or we'd look at the use of the property. Currently, I believe that area is all agricultural residential. So the use of the property for an airport manufacturing or airplane manufacturing or aircraft landing spaces have not been approved in that area. So what's before you today, because staff, that's something that staff would have looked at as well, whether or not any other approvals in the area have been given. They have not. And so what's before you today is an approval for a cell tower on the parcel that's presented. And staff looked at it, and it doesn't interfere with any of the other uses in the area and is allowed by the zoning ordinance with this special use permit.
Is there some applicable way that we can solve this?
Yeah, I'm making a motion to approve.
I actually have a question before we have that, if you will. So we have two applications, number 13 and number 14, by the same applicant. Is this one or both, or is this? Number one, I have a strong issue with 195-foot tower in residential areas. However, are we approving both of them? Is that the ask, or one or the other?
The ask is for both.
Because number 14 is a much better site, and 2 miles south seems pretty adequate for a cell tower. 2 miles radius is not a problem for a cell tower. I hesitate to approve two 190-foot towers 2 miles apart.
The one's in Hackberry. He's right.
No, they're 2 miles
There's
apart.
two of them.
And the other one's down by the railroad track, and
What's the reach of one of these
no one's
towers?
opposing that one.
Well, this is Stephen Kennedy. I'm the radio frequency engineering consultant. So the reach of a tower depends on, one, the height of the tower, the terrain of the area, what's going on in the area. And so typically with 4G, 5G networks, a tower of that height is going to be providing indoor and in-vehicle service up to 2 to 3 miles. There is a deck I did complete for the AZ 13-143 glass project that was shared with your planning department. If it's the board's desire, I can go through the area and it can kind of explain that these are two separate applications. Yes, they are two towers in two different locations, not one application for two towers. This is the first of the two. This is the more northernmost tower. And if it so pleases the board, I can review this deck with them and discuss the site.
Thank you.
And I will add, excuse me, apologies. They are not 2 miles apart. Numbers 13 and 14 that we are. They are, I believe, almost 8 miles apart.
Yes, they are 8.73 miles apart. Therefore, out of what the probable coverage area of each site is, that's a greater area than what the site can serve. So that's hence the need for two.
Back to this agenda item, what you're saying is you see approval, staff recommends approval because you had no idea that this airstrip even existed in the first place. There's no planning, there's no use for this currently.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Helms, that's correct. As far as we're concerned, the airstrip and manufacturing would be in violation.
Okay.
Okay. It appears that you have not followed the proper procedures.
Well, I've started at the federal level. We're not manufacturing yet. What we're trying to get everything set up. We're not there yet. So we started at the federal level. We have to get all that approved and ready to go before we come down with everything else.
Do you have proof that you have this, that you have been doing this?
Yes, I have. Here is the page from the ADIP, which is the FAA site, that shows the submittals and the waiting for the approval. That is what that is from there, right?
But these are two different agencies not communicating with each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
before you would buy
that's
land
what
and
it
put an
is.
airstrip on it, you would go to the county and say, can I do this?
Yeah.
Which hasn't happened. So that's why we're at right now, is just that that process hasn't happened. So regardless, FAA doesn't know you didn't get it already approved by the county.
Right, because we're starting here and we haven't trickled down here yet.
Understand?
Yeah. So that's where we're at.
I
I have no problem going through the county and all that.
I think it's going to happen.
What approvals are needed for a private airstrip in the county?
Chairman Gillette, Commissioner Rugi, you can have an airstrip on any property in the county with a special use permit. So there's the public hearing process.
Similar to what
just
we're
similar
doing
to
right
what
now.
This item is right here. They would apply for it, it would come to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then go to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Thank you.
Well, we have a conundrum because the thing that is before us is for the tower. And I am very sorry, but I don't see any reason for us not to approve it.
Well, and I do need to, I do stand corrected because it is about 8 miles apart, so that is accurate.
I did make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you, sir. And Hubbard made the motion. Thank you very much. Seconded by...
Whatever you want. Doesn't matter.
I'm getting dingy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays?
Nay.
Nay.
So we have 2 nays? Okay, it is approved. Nays. Okay, we're moving on to item number 14. Matthew?
Item number 14 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 314-10012 to allow for a 195-foot wireless telecommunication tower in an A general zone in the Hackberry vicinity. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I just want to say to you, sir, go through the county and start getting your permits in order. Okay, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is the applicant present, and do you wish to speak at this time? Now, hearing none.
He's online.
Yes, ma'am. I'm online. This is John Ketters with Pinnacle Consulting again.
Sorry.
Thank you. This is pretty much the same thing. The area has horrible reception and capacity. We're trying to build something here with the least intrusive means as possible. It is co-locatable. Other carriers are able to have a presence in the community without building another facility. It's vital to the infrastructure of the area and to the community's need in the area. And again, we do have the third-party RF engineer Stephen Kennedy here to explain technicalities if needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others that wish to speak on this item? Name and address, please.
My name is Allison Van Voris. I live at 8586 Huntington Avenue. Our parcel, I'm Dirk's wife, our parcel is diagonal from where this is going to be. I am a retired educator here in the state of Arizona, and when we bought our parcel almost 4 years ago now, I fell in love with this whole area. I've been in Arizona almost all my life and never stayed in Kingman. When we started looking, I stayed in Kingman, and it was gorgeous, and I fell in love with this area, and I fell in love with where we live, and I fell in love with our parcel, and the views are amazing. I've heard a lot about the passion that Kingman residents have for their views, for their land, and I can understand that. So for me to walk out my front door and see a cell tower, would you want that for yourselves? Because you're about to make that decision for me. And I don't appreciate that. I know that's government and that's how things go. But most people out there have Starlink. It's not, a cell tower is not necessary, and you can put it in different places. If you need people who are selling their parcels, be happy to give you names, because there are lots of parcels for sale out there that are not directly in my line of sight. Forget about the airport. I'm talking to you as a resident. I've lived in Mesa for forever and ever, and we moved up here. This is where we're going to retire. And I don't want my retirement home to be bombarded with cell signals. I don't want my retirement home to look at a cell tower. I know that they're necessary evils. I just don't want it right by my property. Thank you.
Is anyone else interested in speaking in this item? I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the commissioners have any questions. Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rouge, seconded by Commissioner Batillo. All in favor, say aye.
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 So moved. Item number 15, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 15 is an evaluation of a request to name a road alignment commencing in Section 4, Township 29 North, Range 15 West, and terminating in Section 17, Township 30 North, Range 15 West to Glamping Drive, located in the Peach Springs vicinity. Staff finds that the application is proper for consideration, as shown on the exhibit, subject to the standard conditions.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask if the applicant is present and if you wish to speak. You're going to... there are people who want to speak on this one.
Well, I hate to waste your time because I may have to answer questions after. My name is Kathy Tackett Hicks. Good afternoon again. This is a request for road name changing on a road that has been identified as unknown for 50 years. Literally, when you look at it, it just says unknown. We did make a request. Currently, right now, it's gone through the last 3 or 4 years, a development that now has glamping sites, camping. There's a restaurant up there. In that first area, there's horseback riding. I mean, it's a developed area now. So because so many people who want to come there, there's no street sign, there's nothing. It's just a dirt road. You're supposed to know where to turn off. Want to get a street sign there. So we made the request for Glamping Drive, and I think the staff has received 4 letters in support. I've spoken with 2 individuals on the phone who are opposed, and 1 woman who is in support, although her letter's not in yet. One gentleman who is adamantly opposed, Lucas, I don't know what his I can't recall the last name. Anyways, I looked, he has about 30 lots up there, but none of them actually front this road. So I think my letter to the surrounding property owners included more people than would actually be impacted. So I think that's a little bit of confusion. But now, since we have mostly approvals, and we do have a few opposition, I ask you please approve it. We just want to name the road.
Check.
So, happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you.
Thought it was
Okay,
going to be
I have 2 people who want to speak on this. Mike, it looks like Kirby, and Mark Grove. Mike, you're first.
Mike Kelly, 28100 North Pierce Ferry Road. I don't have a problem with their naming their road to go to the ranch, but everything past that is an overreach. This is a large corporation, and the problem that we're having with them now is that they have blocked the road off. They put no trespassing signs. We have people who live up there. The rest of the property past theirs is BLM land, and it's just an overreach with what they've already done. It's just, it's causing problems. They don't have any concern for the environment, the people, and the problem is this ranch is financially in trouble. And what they're doing out there, do you have a viewer here so I can show you some of the stuff they've done out here? This is their idea. This is their idea of advertising. They've taken and painted all the rocks up on the mountain, and they just are painted. The other picture is the large cargo vans for their advertisement, 40-foot cargo vans. That's their way of advertising, ruining our environment out there. And they've also blocked the road. Let me see here. They blocked the road and put no trespassing. And I understand that once a piece of property becomes private property, this is the only access road for the people who live up there, the rancher. And the other problem is not only they're destroying the environment there, but with their financial problems, when they go under, look at the mess we're going to be left with. We have deer, antelope, elk, and that road goes directly to the spring that Nash Stanfield, the rancher, uses for his cattle.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I have Mark Grove.
Hello, thank you. My name is Mark Grove. I'm at 813 Calico Drive, Meadview. I have property in 3 sections that are about 400 feet above elevation-wise where Russ's property is. Similar to Mike, I object to the length of the road that's being named. It would make more sense that a short section of it should be renamed. And I happen to be in a unique position because I fenced off Russ's 80 acres. I built all of his fence, about 8,000 feet. Around his ranch, and during that time people staying at the ranch would go for a hike or something, and I'd be up building the fence, and they would chit chat with me and just ask me questions, and I go, oh, yeah, where are you from? And oh, I'm from Arkansas, and I came up last night, but I got lost. And so for him to name it Glamping Drive kind of makes sense from a commercial standpoint, because he has the glamping, Grand Canyon Glamping Resort. And so that would be helpful for people coming up all by themselves and trying to Google Earth and get there. And so I kind of see that. But Mike mentioned the ranchers up there. There's definitely a rancher atmosphere. Rather than Glamping Drive, I might suggest Glamping Ranch Road. Kind of has more of a Western theme, which I think is a little better. So that'd be my suggestion. I'm going to vote in favor of it, but if we could shorten it and maybe add Ranch Road instead of Drive, it would be more appropriate for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this subject, on this item?
First, I'm not familiar with some of the stuff that the first gentleman spoke about, so I'm sorry about that. I did want to make it known that we did only request to name the very first portion of that. But as staff reviewed the road, spoke with BLM, I understand, and stuff, it was their understanding or belief or recommendation that that road actually went all the way up. I think it's a bummer. I think it's a bummer that it's so long, but that was the determination. In terms of changing the road name, I think I would have to ask Russ before I could commit to anything. I don't think it's unreasonable, but I would have to run that by the owner. So at this time, I would ask you to please approve Glamping Drive, and then I can ask the owner if he would be open to changing it at the next step. I just wanted to offer that.
And you would be thinking about changing it to Glamping Ranch Road?
Well, I'm just saying, he brought up a reasonable thing. I don't have a major problem with that myself. I don't. But It's
Got it.
absolutely essential. That would be the most I would want to offer right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do commissioners have any questions of the
I do.
applicant? Okay, Commissioner Hubbard.
The man said it was fenced off or blocked off. You can't use the road. Is that the deal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So absolutely, you're not supposed to be blocking off public roads.
No.
So again, I'm not familiar with that. If that's happening, I would agree that that should not be happening on a public access. So I just don't know where that is in relation. I will tell you that Shamrock Road that went across, the existing dirt roads do not follow the existing legal access, and that's the problem out there. So he may be perfectly fine in stopping access on private because everyone thinks since they use the road, it's good, but it's really not legal access. So I'll figure out what that is.
Okay.
Under RS 2477, it may be legal access.
Okay,
It may be, yes.
certainly.
This is the fence, this is the fence that he paid Russ to build. Russ actually lives up there, and then after he built.
So you built a fence across the road?
Yeah, right across, I have a picture of it if you can turn your camera
Well,
on.
you're not supposed to do that.
Well, if I could just make a comment on that. I have a horse ranch up at the top, 5 miles behind the road that Russ is trying to rename. And I built the fence so that in the long run, whenever that is, it could be blocked off. And that's why I built the fence that way on his property line. The problem with that area is so many ranchers over the years, from the Duncan years to the Smith years, when they were up there driving their vehicles, they just went wherever they could go. And so a lot of times they trespassed across private property. The thing that I've been doing, and one of the things I did up in that area, is before I even did Russ's fence, I was doing some work on my property, but I put in a subdivision easement road per county, Mojave County Supervisor Resolution 2116-116, which allows people to use their best effort to follow a subdivision map. And that's what I've done with Ranch Road. So you're
Well,
correct.
we're way off of where
Anyway,
we're supposed to be. So,
Madam Chair?
After he built the fence, Russ threatened to sue him if he used the road to go home on to his
that
ranch.
is not
And that's
our-
why this
that
is an
not our
overreach.
problem. That is
Madam
not
Chair.
our problem. So we are here just simply to rename this road. So could I need to close the public hearing. Sir, sit down. Do you guys have any questions? Please don't.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to make a motion to continue this to next month so that they can work out a name change. I think we're doing it the opposite way. It's like we approve it and then you're going to change the road. Given that it's such a long, you had said yourself that it was not, you did not intend for it to be such a long road. If it's such a long road, I don't know that one small portion business along that road should get the naming rights of a long street. That's my problem with it. Otherwise, I would make a motion to deny.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just one quick thing. We're looking in, did you find anything? If,
One way or the other.
so one of our questions is whether or not if we make a change to the name today, because what we when we do a road name change, we have to notify all of the surrounding property owners of what that name is going to be. So if it's going to change in this meeting, my understanding or my thought would be is that we're going to have to re-notify all those property owners, and they're going to have their opinion again before we can make a decision. So before you today is the name that is on the agenda. If it's going to change, I think we're going to have to go through the whole process again. We'll have to re-notify, republish, it'd probably be a new application.
I'm not changing.
Okay. So we are now voting on whether we're going to have Clamping Drive as the name of this street. So I'm calling for a motion.
Make a motion to deny.
Okay, I have a motion to deny by Commissioner Rube G, seconded by Commissioner Hellam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nay.
Nay. I don't
Okay,
know what I'm
I
supposed
will
to
have
say.
to have a roll call.
Commissioner Hubbard?
Aye.
Commissioner Bradshaw?
Nay.
Commissioner Helms?
Nay.
Vice Chair Gillette?
Nay.
Commissioner Patillo?
Nay.
Commissioner Ruge?
Aye.
Motion dies.
Okay, so we need a new motion.
Motion to approve as staff recommends.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Helms, seconded by Commissioner Petrillo. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
It sounds like 2 opposed. Okay, this one passes. So you've got your name change. You're welcome. Item number 16, we have any commissioner comments? And item number 17 is called to the public. Do we have anyone who is wanting to speak to the commission? Hearing none. This meeting is adjourned. It was the most unusual one.